Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all you fine folks and everybody around the world. Make it sound like I'm like transmitting to Guam too, but hey, if you got internet, could very well be, right? Big shout out to Kyle. Whoops, and this thing's going flaky on me already. To Miss Heard, as well as Hellfire Studios. Thank you all for your support. You are appreciated. As my audio, it is working. That is good. Ms. Heard, you said your work is awesome and appreciated, Chris. Showing us and NASA lies to us one video at a time. I appreciate it, Ms. Heard. Let me just try to get this thing straight. Hold on. Multitasking, it's always fun. Oh, there we are. Anyway. Let me get this straight here on this side. Kyle, you said we are biological robots with souls. Well, we say that we are actually an avatar, right? Kind of thing. Where, we're just energy in this, like you're saying, biological robot type thing. But yeah, pretty much, right? Let me see. Hellfire Studios said, good afternoon and happy Friday. I made it this time, Chris. So I appreciate it, man. And I do appreciate your support, as is, like I said, Kyle and Miss Heard. You guys are awesome. Let me see. And I see all the usual suspects are in there. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. To be honest with you, I just kicked it here. I didn't do much of anything. We just sat there. We can see, like, where we're located, we can see a lot of areas, like a lot of the towns. Because, of course, these things go up in the air pretty high. So we can see these things. We're just relaxing, just watching those. We didn't do much of anything. We just chilled out. Didn't do, like I said, just kind of vegged a little bit. Not much of anything. Hope everybody's was fine. Nobody's hurt in the process and having a good old time. So, let me get comfy in here. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a little better. That is good. Who else is in there? James is in there. Josh D's in there. Valerian, the Mac 3's in there. What's up? Pete's Vlogs, what's going on? Yo. Mars the Second Genesis, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Michelle Lovelet, what's going on? Says, greetings, Earthlings. Oh, yeah. Or would it be Martians? Right? Let me see. Terry Jakes says, hello, all. What's going on there, Terry Jakes? Good to see you in there. Mags K's in there. Hello, Mags. The Workout Artist Fitness and Motivation says, hey, people, what's going on? Ricardo Petrozzi's in there. I think you said something about didn't make it in last time or you were tired and that you had a long day. Believe me, I feel you. I'm sure everybody does the same. Just times me. Just going, I can't do it. You know what I mean? You just got run down. There's times I do that. Because like I said, I consider this almost like another job because you can easily put 4 to 5 hours into a video. And that's from start to finish, right? That's not like, just editing. I mean, like I said, you could find a video. Is there anything of any value in it? If not, next, go to another one. So on and so forth. Then, you go, okay, I see something. You put it into Photoshop. You can enhance it. Maybe you don't have to enhance it. But then when you're done with it, make a video about it. And then edit it, upload it, so on and so forth, because you want to review it as well, just to see how many mistakes you did. But that's what editing's for, right? So, but then you go over it, and then you just post it on YouTube. It takes a bit of work. It really does. Want to say a big hello to the thumbs down. Good to see you in there, as always. But yeah, so it is. It's almost considered like another job here, right? And I'll tell you what, after a long day at the regular job, it wears you out. So this is the reason why I tried to, because it didn't work out this week. I had, usually I try to do it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, because my busiest days are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So I tried to do them on the off days that are really busy. And it didn't work out this week because we were really busy. So, but I was able to get the other one out today. Hope everybody's seen it. And, of course, we got the other one out in the beginning of the week. So, yeah, really interesting. It just goes to show you guys, there's no way that that our government's just doing random things just out of nowhere. Just go look at that rock. Let's go look at that planet. What the heck? What do we got to lose? Like I said, just close their eyes, throw a dot, and hopefully they can pick something out to go investigate. Come on. You know as well as I do, this is very thought out, methodical kind of thinking. Smartest minds on the planet. putting this stuff together. Like I said, there's no way they're going to go to 67p as a random rock and go, hey, that just happens to be going around our solar system. Why don't we just got to have a good look at that and spend millions of dollars, calculations up the rear end, fingers crossed, hope we make it kind of thing. And then finally, it orbits it, sends down to Flaylander, and of course that didn't work out too well. As you know, if you've read the story about it, and I did talk about it briefly in the video, come on. They're not doing this for no reason. I mean, there's a reason behind it. And they're not going to go out and spend all that money, all that work that's put into it. I think it was, oh man, what was it? I think it was like 5-6 years in the making. From calculating to designing to putting this thing together and then getting it off to, rendezvous with 67p. So I don't think that was it just wasn't a random rock. There's a reason for it, right? River Squid says, hey, everyone. Well, hi, everyone. What's going on there, River Squid? Oh, let me see here. You guys are talking amongst yourself here, so I'll just kind of bounce over there. Mimi Reacts, what's going on? Good to see you in there as well. John Beck's in there. He says, hi, Chris and everyone. Let me see. Well, this thing jumped on me here. Hold on. Hope I didn't miss anybody here. Pete Ferrero's in there. Says, hey, Chad, Chris, Buffalo, New York here. What's going on there, Pete? Good to have you in there as always. Yeah, I'm pretty much doing the same thing. I'm going to go by the short name, Justy. You're saying Lapis. What's going on there? Good to see you in there. That's a long name. Besides, you can trip over your tongue trying to say his name. Her name, I'm not sure. I'm trying to be respectful here. Alfie Joe Bob's in there. What's going on there, Alfie Joe? Good to see you in there. Said, greetings, Chris and all. Terry Jake, she said, sun just going down in northwest England. Well, it's still sunny here. Not too bad, but 86 degrees Fahrenheit with a heat index of about 92 degrees, which is a cool day. I think it only hit like 88, 89, not even quite the 90. So, yeah. Ian, what's happening? Good to see you in there. Eric Bauer's in there. What's going on? Good to see you in there, Eric. Eric is in the hizoo. Atmosphere pressure. We are robotic biologicals. I believe you might be right. Like I said, we are basically energy in an avatar body. That's all it is. When you die, you go right back into energy, right back out into the universe there, right? And that's pretty much it. And the rest of your body goes back into the earth. Pretty much. Let me see. Derek Balno, what's going on? You said, Chris, thanks for being the moderator on this long journey. We all are on one hell of a ride. Well, I appreciate it, Derek. Yeah, if you just took the time out like a lot of people do, and I know a lot of you folks do too. I mean, just about every one of you do this. Whether you make videos or not is immaterial, right? You're investigative, you're inquisitive, you want to know what's going on. And that's what it's all about, right? I mean, it's like you're interested, you say, hey, let me just take a look at these photos. I'm just curious, right? And you never know what you're going to find in these things. It could be nothing, but still a good-looking landscape regardless, whether it's 67p in the last video, whether it's the moon, whether it's Mars. You just, even if it's just as simply, I want to look at it because it's a different planet or a different body in our solar system, right? One way or the other. But then when you find out stuff's being hidden in these photos, I don't know about you, but it's like, you could take it to the grave that we're not the only humans or beings in our universe. It's as simple as that. I almost can promise you it's teeming with life. But for some reason, they will not acknowledge that. I don't know why, and it simply makes no sense. Josh D, you said, hey, Chris, thanks for the vids of food for thought. Well, I appreciate it there, Josh. Let me see. And again, thank you for your support, as always, sir. You said, Chris, you are banging out fantastic videos, one after another, between Mars, the Lunar, and the Rosetta vid. Also, they're top of the range, man. Great work. I appreciate it, man. And I do appreciate your support, as always. And here's the thing. Like I said in the last video, it won't be the last one from 67p. There's quite a bit. If you look at the link, there's quite a bit of those photos there. And all it is basically, like I said, look for the lines. I've seen that smoothed out area more than once on Pluto. We've seen it on the moon. That stuff is actually fabricated. It's not even real. You can see where they kind of smoothed it over. You can see, and then when you look really deep into that white area, you can see more compression artifacts where they literally stamped it in. You can see the area they did it in. So it's not like, well, it just happens to be a completely blurry picture because you would see that all over it. No, but a lot of it is whitened out, or they used the darker colors to blend everything in. Let's say the surface of the ground is dark brown. Just throw a color. If we can take that same thing, copy it, which basically you can use a clone tool to do that, copy that area or the color, you can lasso the color, whatever you want to do, or just basically clone it, and then just take it and just paste it onto anything you want to. Just kind of go over it, but keep the shape. There you go. So everything looks blended in. You do not see it, and that's the problem. That's how they're just one of the ways they mess with your eyeballs, right? And yeah, and this is the reason why I describe a lot of things, like I'll circle the things so people can get their eyes on each thing that I was looking at. And of course, you guys found more, which is awesome. But it's to help along the way so you guys can say, oh, you guys can now look at a photo and go, I know exactly what's going on with that photo, and I don't have to do a thing to it. So that's what it's all about, right? You know, we go through it step by step. You learn along the way, and then, you know, then there's things that you guys have said where, hey, wow, you missed this. What about in the lower left over here, and so on and so forth. And then I'll look and I'll go, I totally missed that. So it might have been the way you guys saw it through the manipulation, and I didn't. Or, well, I shouldn't say or, because most of the time they try to, convey the things that really stand out the most. And that's what matters, right? Because the bigger the item is, obviously it's going to stand out. And everybody's going to be able to see that. And then sometimes I'll just go, you know what, I'm just going to leave this alone and see if they even notice this part. And you guys do. And then some. So it's awesome. You know, like I said, everybody's in on it. Everybody does it. That's what it's really all about. Ian, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate it. You said, hand down the best planetary anomalies, channel on YouTube. Thank you, Chris. Well, I appreciate it, Ian. Thank you very much for your support. As well as you, again, James. He said, the cloth for the CGI boys' glasses before we start. Poor guys need it, don't they? Hold on, let me get that cloth out. I'm just like, oh, yeah. For some reason, I'm just missing these anomalies. Oh, my God. It's almost like you know it's being done by CGI, where it's like a computer doing these, because how does it miss it so much? Or they just feel everybody is dumb as a farm mouse and that they can't see this stuff. Because clearly a lot of people can see it. They have. And once you recognize the way they manipulate these photos, it's almost easy to do it now. And like I said, it took me a while to get adjusted to that. When I first started out in, what was it? Well, I was actually watching videos too, and plus I was doing my own photos, but never did a video before 2012. And as I did, I got more and more used to acclimated the way they did, the moon's different from the way they do the Mars photos, so on and so forth. But then I seen like a kind of a, then I seen similarities, like you can see how they do the hills and the buttes. If you call them what you want on the moon, they're doing the same thing they're doing there, they're doing on Mars. And all that smoothing over on the moon, they're doing that on Rosetta. Well, I was going to say Rosetta, but that's not the aircraft. I mean the spacecraft. The actual comet. So they're smoothing that stuff over for a reason. It's to hide whatever's there. And you can bring out the lines, and sure in hell, there they are. And that's what it's all about, right? Oh, this thing jumped on me big time. There we go. Kenneth, great comment. I like your comment. He said, Milky Way may be crammed with extinct civilizations. I truly believe that's true. Because, like they said, they, and I forgot exactly who said it, maybe you guys know off the top of your head, where they said, at some point, a civilization will overgrow its boundaries and just basically collapse in on itself. So maybe you use up too many resources and then starve yourself out. Maybe through war, kill each other off. That could have happened on Mars, or maybe it was killed off by somebody else. Maybe it was a thing they've done themselves. I mean, look how many nuclear accidents we had on this planet. And thankfully it didn't kill off the planet, but you still have a certain amount of fallout, and of course it wrecks sea life. Everything around the area, it's not habitable for years. like Chernobyl. I mean, it's now you can still go there. Of course, they don't recommend you live there, but you can literally go there without actually doing any harm to yourself. Unless, of course, you decide to sleep there, grab one of the apartments there. Not too smart. You don't want to do that. So, I believe that's true. I believe a lot of civilizations are out there or were out there, and either they collapsed within themselves or on top of themselves, boom, just that was the end of it, and just killed themselves off or starve themselves off. Who knows? A planet can become too big for its resources. Then what do? You basically eat all the food on the planet, eat all the resources you've been digging out of the planet, so on and so forth. This is the reason why it's so imperative to go to solar as well as wind generators. Now, a lot of people say, wind generators are crap, it's killing birds. And it's like, well, it's pretty bad when a bird can fly into something large, must be blind. But on the other side of the token, maybe they're not thinking it's going that fast. They can see the thing and whatever. And they are very expensive to make, and it takes a long time for that thing to be paid off. But it's not about paying off the wind generator. It's about using its resources at that time. So you can get 5 or 6 of them things, and it can power a small town with no problem. And you don't even need a nuclear power plant, coal burning plant. You don't need any of that. So there you go. I mean, wind generation, as long as it's in that area where you can get a lot of wind and stuff like that, you'll see a lot of times they're either in the ocean, which you always get an ocean breeze. They can be on top of a mountain, which gets a lot of air as well. You got a lot of wind aloft, so you'll get that. So, and solar panel, as long as the sun's out, you got electricity. Like I said, I can have power go out, for 3 months. I can still power up my phone. I can still do things. Now, it will never be the same like having electricity, but at least you can power up your phones. You can power up things you need. Like I said, these little talkies, which I showed you guys last time, which I did actually try these things out. They went, where I live, it literally goes, it's low. Then there's a big area that it goes up, and then it goes back down. And I only went like a certain distance, and it was like 2.5 miles. I could still talk to my house. 2.5 miles, that's not bad. And keep in mind, the wife was actually inside the house, and it was kind of shaky in and out, but then I told her to come outside, and I could talk to her all day long. 2.5, probably 3 miles easily on this talkie. So these are nice to have, like a bug-out bag, because you don't know. Cell phone goes out, you're not talking to anybody. So if you get somebody that lives, within 2 to 3 miles, and you have them as an emergency backup, first thing you do is turn it on, and you guys can talk back and forth. And like I said, I can plug that right in because it's got the same plug as like, I'm trying to remember. No, this is actually the C charger. So it charges up faster, but I can just plug it right into my solar, power station there and power it right up. So pretty nice. It's nice to have. A lot of people don't think that could ever happen, but you just never know, right? So, but I think that's a good comment there, Kenneth, no doubt. And I believe you're absolutely right. And this may be what we're seeing on Mars. Other planets in our solar system. Again, why are we chasing rocks? Like Bennu. Remember like Bennu, another comment? Same thing. They look like they're shaped in a certain way, a certain fashion. Why are they going after just those particular rocks? I think, and this is just a theory, and maybe you guys will agree, maybe you won't. Maybe you can throw me your comments and tell me what you think. I believe that while they're out there just scanning the universe and the stars and everything else, they're locked onto that just as, hey, let's just point it at it. Whether it's the Hubble, which is in trouble right now, it's having issues, but I think they're going to work that out. But even if we were to use our own satellite dish arrays here and point it at a certain, comet, whatever, I almost promise you, maybe they had like a weak signature of like a power supply or something there that made them go, hey, there's something there. And we could tell that this is, it's different from any other noise in the solar system. You know how like planets give off their own noise, and whether it be like different harmonics as far as, magnetic fields and all this other stuff. I think what it is, they saw something that was like a power source. They got a signature like that. Or maybe there was something transmitting off of it. I don't know. Pure speculation. But it's kind of weird how you just go after that one rock. Oh, of course, they've gone after others. Like I said, one was Bennu and the other one looks very much like it. So it makes you wonder. Well, not makes you wonder. To me, there's no doubt in my mind that somehow they sniffed that thing out. Something stuck out about it, and this is the reason why they went to a mission with it. Or at least ESA and ESA did. I should say ESA, but a lot of people correct me on that. But again, NASA's working together. If you look at some of these pictures on space.com, so they're all intertwined, so to speak. So as well as I do that they knew exactly what's going on. And they just said, we got to check this thing out. And one of the subs had said, I think it was in the comments section of that video, said, yeah, because they tried to drive that, basically an anchor in there. It's supposed to, like a harpoon type thing, go into the actual comet surface. Instead, it just bounced off, and actually, I think it hit the actual lander, and it sent it off, and it went down, boom, bounced again, and then into this crevice. And that's where they say it gets stuck. But if you read one of them, I don't know if it was from Wiki, they said, oh, it just made a landing, and that was pretty much it. No, it did not. It literally crashed into a crevice and got stuck in the dock, and it's supposed to be solar powered. I don't believe that's the case. Now, they could send it off with a full charge battery, but was that how it was really powered? I don't think it was. I could be wrong, because they said once it went into that shady area, it couldn't charge anymore, so therefore it was pretty much junk. But they did say at one point it was facing, like, I don't know if it was going back out of the solar system, went around the sun, and they said that they got enough charge where it was able to upload the information, and then they got a lot of information back from that comet about its composition, whatever they found. Like I said, organics on it. Not exactly sure. I don't remember exactly what they meant by that, but organics is organics. What happened if that rock crashed into a large planet, much bigger than ours? And it probably would have caused some damage there, but maybe that's what would start life on that planet. Theory of panspermia, right? There you go. So, we don't know. Let me put that like that. I'm just going to make these a little bigger, and I don't know what I'm doing here. There we go. That's a little better. There, I can see this a lot better. Bush Corey, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Mike Knapp's in there. Colin Crowther, what's happening? Planet X Surveillance, didn't see you in there. Dink Williams, he said, hi, Joss. Jeez, I can't spell today. New Chaotic Order, what's going on? The DoD wants a multi-vendor and a multi-cloud strategy for our war fighters. No doubt. Let me go all the way down to the bottom here, so I've been jaw-jacking a little bit here. I don't want to miss all the other conversations people were having here. Ricardo said, comment to 67P could well be a piece of exploded planet, now the asteroid belt. Yeah, it could very well be. Here's the thing, and I think I said this before. Wouldn't it be cool if, and I think NASA's talked about doing this, actually getting a rock that they've seen out there. They want to grab the rock and bring it back to Earth. What if, and again, pure speculation, what if an alien race did that? They brought the rock there. Maybe they were actually mining it for something, or they just said, you know what? This would make a great spacecraft. Build structures on it, make a little civilization on there. It can basically survive on its own through resources, whatever it is. Maybe they can make their own oxygen, so on and so forth, their own energy. And once we propel ourselves, just a couple bursts of energy, no matter, I don't know how they would power it, but let's say they get it out there and just let it go. Shut the engines off and just go. It's like you never have to use fuel, and you look like you're on a rock. You're on a rock, basically, and it looks like, nobody be none the wiser, any civilization. Oh, look, there's an asteroid going by, no big deal. But in the meantime, they're literally like seeing and monitoring, got sensors on your planet and seeing what's on there, what civilizations are there and what's not. And that's the best way to do that. It makes perfect sense to me. I would, as long as the people that are on it can actually survive, right? So I think they could do that with ease. And it just goes to show you there are structures on that rock. So who did it? How long ago? How long has that rock been out in space? And when did it actually get on there? Like I said, did they actually build onto it? Gary Miller's in there. What's going on, Gary? H Stars 1AV, what's happening? Eric Douglas is in there. What's going on, Eric? I don't even think I seen Renee. Did I see you earlier? Renee Von Usohood? I don't know if I seen you up there. You might have been one of the first ones up there, I think. Jason Bartoli, what's going on? It's hello from super hot Arizona. I think you guys are in the triple digits, aren't you? Like always in the summertime, right? Roasting and toasting, no doubt. Let me see. Peter Ferreira said, Starship testing ready to try a main rocket launch 400 feet high. I seen that. And we also got, what's his name, Mr. Brandon from, from Virgin there. He's actually going out into space. Well, they call it space. Some call it not. He's going to go, I think it's like 50 miles inside our atmosphere. It's supposed to be this weekend, I think Sunday. So that'll be interesting. He's going up, but he's one of 4 crew. I don't remember the other people's names, but they are going up there as well. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, really cool stuff. Let me see here. They're talking here. This is basically space news from space.com. The last voyage of NASA's space shuttle, looking back at Atlantis, final mission 10 years later. We got right here, Virgin Galactic prepares to launch. And then it says methane is spotted on Enceladus, and Hubble struggles on. So, yeah, there's actually a video if you go on that. And I think there's one of the people in there talking from space there, right there. And they're going on and on. They're talking about it. It's on YouTube, so I can't play it. You get like a copyright strike on that, and we don't want to be doing that. But so they're touching on these particular subjects, right? And they're saying this is the reason why there's a lot of these plumes are happening is because of methane coming out of there. Well, yeah. They're learning more and more about these planets. Imagine that. And they've already had, spacecraft either fly by there or whatever. And these things have got sensors that are going crazy when they go by these planets. In other words, they're designed to, once it reaches that planet or just doing a flyby, that it pretty much does all kinds of calculations and everything else, and probably basically sniffs around that planet, moon, whatever it may be they're looking at, right? So, yeah, pretty interesting. You can actually check that out. And you'll get the link, as always. You guys know that. Pretty cool stuff. Earth observing satellite startup planet is going public. So that's going to be pretty interesting. And they're basically using these small satellite cubes, right? And we were talking about that. Remember we said, well, they're going to be basically cameras on these things. They're going to be a link, like we got Elon doing his CubeSats for his internet. But it's not just used for that. They're all linking up together, so they can pretty much share all kinds of information. And you see on this day in space, July 9th, 1979, Voyager's second closest approach to Jupiter. Yeah. Mars helicopter Ingenuity spotted a heart in Perseverance rover tracks, which is like whoopty-doo, big deal kind of thing. Who cares? Tell me more about the stuff you're hiding on that. That would be even better. That would be a lot better. And you can see, oh, look at the little heart. How cute. Who cares? It's like, hey, let's just get people's mind off of what's really going on here. Does anybody really care? I mean, I know I don't. Rare hypernova explosion detected in fringes of the Milky Way for the first time. Researchers found evidence of an elusive magneto-rotational hypernova explosion for the very first time ever. So yeah, learning more and more and more, folks. Let me just get this off in case there's something else in here. I don't want to be on part of that. Former NASA astronauts return to space on private Axiom flight. Will be a dream come true. Axiom. Why does that sound familiar? Wasn't that in a movie? Oh, gotta love it. U.S. intelligence reports on UFOs. No aliens, but government transparency and desire for better data might bring science to the UFO world. Bull, and more bull. Can't flag it enough. Oh, it's no aliens, but we don't know where it's from, but it's not aliens. Okay. What do you guys think of that, too? And, in fact, it was, what was his name? Oh, I'm going to draw a blank on his name. Elizondo, where he's saying that, there's a 23-minute video that would have everybody freaked out. Who's going to be freaked out about this? Listen, what I've seen on the moon and on Mars and other bodies in our solar system, it would just be like, oh, okay. That confirms what we've been saying. There's other life forms out there. I would not be freaked out in the least bit. And I know nobody here would be. They'd be like welcoming it, right? Yeah, maybe there you go. Haha, clonery. Gotta love it. Let's see. Adam the Martian's in there. Great for All's in there. Just want to acknowledge you, everyone there. I miss anybody here? Ravens Orioles long. There'll be other space companies out there competing, and it's going to drop like a rock as far as prices to go up there. So that's going to be interesting. I think it'll be pretty cool. Oh, let me see here. Peter Petrelli said, "Yo, Chris, how's it going? UK London just jumped on. Howdy, fellow anomalies. What's going on there, Peter? Good to see you in there. Hope you're doing well over there in London. And it's not a rainy piece of trash. I know sometimes you guys have been saying it's been nasty over there. It's that time of year, I think, right? The Awoken Ones in the Hizu said, "What up, Chris? What up, chat? I hope y'all are good. I can't stay in chat as my eyes are burned out from reading too much already today. But I'm watching this live stream. Respect. Appreciate it, the Awoken One. Glad to just have you in there and just chilling with us there, even if you're not jumping in on it, right? So that's awesome. Yeah, new chaotic order. You said, make people afraid of space to control them. There you go. You know, it's like, yeah, just let those big boys take care of this, kind of attitude. It's like, whatever. It's like, let everybody on the secret. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to freak out. If they just take one step at a time, said, yeah, why don't they, here's a good idea. Why don't they just, include, instead of the UFO stories, right? How about we found life and structures on the moon? That would be pretty interesting. What do you guys think about that? Start doing that. Throw those little tidbits in there so that people become aware. Heck, you're already talking about UFOs, and of course, like I said, they'll do anything at any cost to say, it's not outside of Earth. Well, then people should be freaked out that some other countries got these. I mean, think about it. You should be totally freaked out. Because if it isn't ours, then it's somebody else's. It's as simple as that. Meaning, it's somebody's on here on Earth, and every other country should be looking back at each other going, whose is that? Is that yours? And it's not mine. What about yours? They should be totally freaked out about it. And nobody seems to be talking about it. I think they should include that in the UFO reports. But that's really big. Because you can look at any kind of UFOs and say, you could just disregard them. Discard any of these photos and say, But when you talk about there's actually structures on the moon, and maybe they found a crashed UFO on the moon or whatever, people might get a little more freaked out. And from some of the photos I've seen of the moon, it looks like there's dark areas where, man, it looks like, wow, it's just, it would totally freak you out if you were there. Again, hence the Apollo 11, astronauts that went and totally bugged out when they seen it, right? Star cluster overrun with black holes may dissolve into space, study finds. A cluster composed of thousands of stars may dissolve to become a mob of dozens of black holes in a billion years. Well, we won't have to worry about that anytime soon then. Get this. China's Chang'e 5 moon landing site finally has a name. The landing site for China's complex Chang'e 5, a moon sample and return mission, now has a name. Stasio Tiaquan, I guess it is. Tiaquan, whatever the hell they call it. But what's funny enough, again, they're going to the other side of the moon. Imagine that. What's there, guys? We're looking for water. Okay, now what? Repurposed communication satellites may help, or could help, save humanity from an asteroid impact. Like they haven't been doing that already? Come on. They should have been doing that long time ago, right? SpaceX Dragon cargo ship departs space station after stormy delays. Yeah, you really don't want to do that. Here we go. Look at China's Chang'e 6 mission will collect lunar samples from the far side of the moon, again, by 2024. What's on there, folks? It's let's say they already know there's water there, right? They know there's frozen water in a lot of these craters in the South Pole. I'm sure it's at the other pole as well, so on and so forth. Okay, now what? Of course, they do want to actually put a base there. They want to put a orbiter or a space station around there, too. And they want to have a link, basically like a cell tower, on there so they can actually just convey back and forth. So in other words, they don't even need like an orbiter. Of course, you'd pretty much have to. You'd have to have a relay station somehow, whether you're relaying around the moon, from tower to tower to tower like we do here on Earth, or you're on the ground transmitting to a cell site, pretty much, so to speak, and then to that actual orbiter. So, or it'll just transmit right to Earth, meaning it'd have to be strong enough transmitter to be able to go around the planet, right? or be heard from around the backside of the moon, I should say. So, yeah. Yeah, Mimi, that is no aliens. Nah, it couldn't possibly be that. Yeah, Adam, I totally agree with you. Adam the Martian says, "What a ridiculous report on UFOs." It is. It's really actually sad, because we all know that there's other things on other bodies in our solar system. So it should not be even a secret that there's UFOs. Why even hide this fact? Because again, like I said, if they were to say, "Oh, by the way, there are structures on the moon or on Mars," right off the bat, you're going to say, "Okay, clearly these UFOs are not ours." Or some are ours as well as extraterrestrials, right? It's going to basically confirm it. And I don't think they want to do that. It's like open up another big, open up Pandora's box, so to speak, and they don't want to do that. And I think it's crap, to be honest with you. Pretty much, A-Stars1AV, you said, if not aliens, it's our tech that we don't get to have. Well, I think we will, but there'll be forms of it, and it'll be watered down to civilian use, right? So I think that will happen at some point. And kind of like the microwave lasers, like you find in your DVD players when they first came out. Actually, they had the actual video players. And you remember the other ones that looked like giant albums? Those go back in the 70s where they had, because people thought DVDs and CDs were the thing. Is, oh my God, it's the next best thing since sliced bread. No, they were out in the 70s. Heck, my uncle had one of those things. And it was cool. It had a great picture to it. Of course, he was like a, audiophile and had the best of everything. But, at least back in the 70s. And like I said, I've seen that back then. But nonetheless, stuff does get watered down to us, right? What's going on, 357 Robbie? It's good to see you here. Like that? See you here. Eric Douglas, he says, Chris, a lot of your picks look like a whole craft, if I'm honest. So it's hard to deny. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell in some ways if it's like either something broken up or it's separate things. It's hard to tell. But like I said in the last video, there's one thing we can agree is that it's not natural. It's as simple as that. Even if we can't tell what the heck these things are, but if you're backed off of something quite far enough, you can say, okay, it's at least something intelligently made. We know that. But is it the size of a small house? Is it a large structure? So on and so forth. I mean, you can just tell one simple thing is it's not natural or it is. And if it's not natural, what's it doing on that moon, planet, or body floating around in space? Makes no sense, which is kind of good for us. I'm glad they're making these screw-ups. Or they're just simply not making these screw-ups, but we're actually seeing through reading, between the lines, so to speak, right? Or finding the lines, if you will. Planet X surveillance, Dink Williams, appreciate it. Appreciate your support. You said great channel, Chris. I do appreciate it. Do you have a channel of your own? Because we can always throw that out there if you want to. You can always throw a link or whatever, and we can do that too. I appreciate it if everybody spreads the word about my channel. I do the same for theirs as well. And not to mention, it's to give other people other channels to watch as well. Because I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of times like you look for a channel and you're going, man, I just wish there was more of it. Like more people are covering these things. As long as they're not making this crap up. In other words, you want to find something decent, and you just can't find it. Suddenly you stumble across when somebody mentions, and you go, oh, wow, I never even knew that thing existed, right? So I do my best to give shout-outs to other channels so everybody here can also have other things to watch. And if I don't think it's reputable, I won't even suggest it. It's just not worth it. Because it's not something I would watch. I wouldn't mention it to you guys. There's just no point in it, Peter Ferrero said the U.S. military has successfully launched and guided a hypersonic missile, getting ready for space conflicts. Well, and that may be, like we were talking about, either A, it could be for bodies coming towards Earth, like an asteroid, comet, whatever it may be, and maybe they're going to use those for that. Or pending another doom, perhaps something maybe, we're going to say evil aliens, right? Like I said, I think if we had those already, I think we'd already be annihilated, or we'd be under their... basically their command, so to speak. In other words, they'd be the leaders. How do we know they're not? And this is what gets really crazy. Because like I said, it's kind of like a pyramid, right? It's like It's like when you go to work, you have your supervisor, then they have their supervisor, then they got maybe another, plant-wide supervisor, then they have the owner, and then, and so forth. It's like a pyramidal thing going on. And how do we know who's really in charge of this plant other than the extremely rich and powerful people, right? How do we know? Ricardo, thank you very much for your support, as always, sir. You said, hey, Chris, Tyler 2 just asked, would you rather spend 48 hours on Mars, 24 hours on the moon, or 12 hours at Area 51? That's a tough one. Wow. Wow. Couldn't it be the same times? Because I'm looking, I'm saying, yeah, I wouldn't mind spending 48 hours on Mars, but I'd like to do the same thing on the moon. 12 hours at Area 51. See, Area 51, you'd probably get shot and killed, so I don't think that's going to work. So either it had to be Mars or the moon. Well, there's a good chance I can breathe on the moon, except maybe freeze my butt off. We'll get, so you'd probably have to hide at night. But, yeah, I don't know. Either one would be equally, but probably hands down, because it'd be probably better for my health, would probably be Mars. As far as be able to look around, because there's going to be a ton of it there, as far as civilization-wise. But equally, like I said, the moon is just as intriguing, because you just don't know what's there, although we do. But I mean, as far as like boots on the ground, looking at these crazy things, right? So that's a tough one, man. Man, you got to hurt my brain this early? But yeah, I would say probably Mars would squeak it out, but the moon is just as intriguing. I would just love to be able to do that. Eric Douglas just said, looks like sections, but spread, Chris, but you can see it. It's not rock. Oh, yeah, definitely not. Now, like I said, just about whether it's the moon, like I said, 67P, Mars, is there rocks and boulders and mountains in these areas that we're seeing these anomalies? Absolutely. However, if you see like one mechanical thing, I'm just going to throw that out. If you see one mechanical thing, and it's coming out of a rock, or you can pull it out of a rock that they're trying to hide it, you can bet whatever it is has been blown to pieces, and it may be mostly whatever that part is, it's part of something that's also scattered all over the place. So we don't know, right? We can just say, well, it's probably something that has exploded there, whether it was annihilated purposely or it just exploded there, whatever. But I don't know. It's definitely not, like I said, you just have to ask yourself the two questions. Is it natural or non-natural? Then you can try to speculate as to what you may think they are. That's all we can do here, right? And I've always said that. I'm not saying anything with any, absolutes. Now, I'll say this looks absolutely like a city on 67P. And I said that. Why? Because they do look like structures. They don't look like an airplane. They don't look, when I say plane, I mean like a spacecraft. They don't look like natural occurring stuff, like boulders, ridges, and everything else. So, determine natural and non-natural. And if it's not natural, what is it? It's your best guess. So something what it looks like. And just speculate. That's all we can do, right? What is that? Matthew Lucy said 48 hours on Mars, but either one would be a trip of a lifetime. Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Matthew. Yeah, totally. That would be pretty interesting, Lapis. He said, I'd like to get beamed from Area 51 to the moon, from there to Mars and back. Yeah, that would be interesting. There you go. Yeah, if you could go through one of these jump rooms, like Andy Basciago said, then, yeah, just jump room, just make it a day. Go to Area 51, bounce there to the moon, and then bounce from there to Mars and make it back in a day. Honey, I'm home, kind of thing. So, yeah, that would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah. Jim L., thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate it. He said, beep, beep, thumbs up. Got 135 watching, 76 thumbs up. Come on, guys, nail that bad whamma jamma. Let's get it on. Yeah, it's a great question, Renee Cruz. You said, what the hell happened to Robert Bigelow, Aeronautics, rather? He should be racing them, too. I thought he was still in the works, but you just don't hear a whole lot because he's filthy rich himself, and he was basically doing the same, wasn't he? Building things and everything else. So for all we know, he could be actually working with one of the others, right? I don't know. Colin Crowther says, I'd do Mars, rather. Yeah. And Jaya Kishori said, "Would you like to go to Mars?" Yeah, I think everybody probably would in a certain way because of what we're seeing in these photos, right? And it's hard to tell what we're even seeing, but we are seeing something or things that are intelligently made, right? Structures, mechanical parts. Something was living on that planet. Now, whether it was us thousands of years ago or somebody else on there, there's no way of knowing. But we do know it's definitely not. Natural. It's as simple as that, right? Let me check that there. Yeah, I just reading your comment there, Ricardo. You said you're talking to James and Miss Heard. You said a bit of shadow banning going on with the Real Jimmy Roberts channel as well. And then, of course, we were talking about also James, you're talking about they did shut down John Ward also. Yeah, but I don't know if they obviously didn't shut the channel down, I don't believe. But, I mean, as far as, they try to shadow ban these guys, and they were doing the same thing to me, and I think they still are to a certain degree. It's almost like I said, if they believe you fall in a category of, they're just, a conspiracy theorist, if they even just rate you in there, then somehow you don't get mentioned. You won't see a suggested video of theirs, or you won't get a notification on the right-hand side. And like I said, I jumped their butts when I saw the thumbs up going down. I was like, you better tell me what's going on here. I said, are you one of these, what do they say? Are you a partnership? Yes, I am. And I said, well, let us check right into it. Oh, yeah, there's no shadow banning going on. And I said, well, I'll tell you what. You should not see the things that's happening to these channels, not just mine, other channels as well going on. We'll look into it, blah, 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 blah. And it hasn't happened since. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not still being shadow banned, meaning I'm under that category of, conspiracy theory. Just because you might talk about another planet, the automatic, conspiracy theorist. Could be talking about the moon. Come on. If it's right there in the photo, how is that a conspiracy? You're seeing it there. And again, all they have to do is answer the question, natural or non. And right off the bat, to me, that's not conspiracy theory if you can actually back that. That's just the way I feel, right? Jaya, I think I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Kishori, you said, Josh, please email me. Well, you can email. Maybe she got free tickets to go to Mars. Sweet. I'm there. That's a good question, too, Jaya. You said, could gold be silver on Mars? I think that there is absolutely something, not just technology, and looking over I don't know if I want to say ancient, but a civilization that's long past that was on Mars and whatever's left of it. I also believe there's actually resources that you're trying to get off of that planet, and it could very well be a precious metal or other stuff. Maybe they found that these people on Mars were using and said, wow, we never thought about applying that to a fuel or using that as a fuel. How did they use it as a fuel? Well, then they found the technology that actually converts this particular whatever into energy. Well, we never thought of that. Never thought of that technology. They grab that technology, bring it here to Earth, or replicate it, and there you go, right? Eric Douglas said alien art shows a running water, maybe dams on Mars. It's the same thing Jimmy's been showing for a while there, where he showed like looked like almost like a running, like almost stream type thing, and you see it was kind of breaking through the side wall, and it looked like water coming down. He's been saying that forever, and it could very well be. We don't know. Just because they show a red planet doesn't mean there's small bodies of ocean and you just don't see it from a distance. That doesn't mean anything. There could very well be lakes on Mars, and I believe that there are. There's many people have seen what look like lakes on there, on Mars and stuff like that, as well as vegetation, right? So yeah, no, I truly believe there are. Lee Herring, what's going on? He said, hey guys, sorry a little late. You're fine, Lee. Glad to have you in there. Matthew, you said, wondering what it would be like tumbling through space on a 2-mile wide comet. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, too. What if they had, like, a technology where you don't even feel yourself tumbling and everything else? Like, a certain gravity on there where you don't even feel that motion of you going around like that through space. I don't know. But that would be interesting. Because 2 miles doesn't sound big, but that's pretty large, and if all it is, and I called it like an outpost, could it be like an outpost? It could very well be. We don't know. It'd be a perfect place to say, listen, we can have this thing go through space, and maybe they got a way to transmit back the data like we do here with our spacecraft, right? Viking missions, all kinds of missions we got going on, and it's transmitting information back to Earth. So how do we know it's not going through different solar systems, and making its rounds and just, that's it, studying planets, moons, and whatever else? We don't know. It'd be wild to actually get inside information. That'd be pretty sweet. New Chaotic Order says, as they get closer to disclosure, they have to control the flow of information more. The censorship gets worse, and more UFO stuff stuff trickles out. Yeah. I mean, they've been doing this anyway, right? I mean, they've been doing this for the longest time. Just controlling any information. But now they're just trying to get it out. So I don't know what the whole purpose of it is. If they don't believe it's from outer space, these crafts, then what do they think they are? And why even talk about them then? Or because there's a lot of people actually seeing these, you know what I'm saying? Like, other countries around the world are seeing this as well. And that could very well be. This is the reason why they're talking about it more and more. So, I don't know. It's almost like they're trying to say, why don't we do this, right? Tell them we're seeing these things too, like I said before, and that we don't know where they're coming from, and they're actually ours. Or they do know whose they are. I don't know. It's just weird, right? James, thank you again for your support. As always, you said, Chris, what about the questions NASA were asked about why they didn't go back to the moon, and the answer, the safety of the astronauts? Remember, Chris? Yeah. And if you remember correctly, and I thought that was the most lamest excuse, I'm going, okay, so let's see. So you went 6 missions, but now you're worried. Because they've already had mishaps prior to that. Like I said, on 13, and there was one, what was it, 8 or 9? I think they had a fire on board one of those. And before then, there was like, I forget what they said, there was like 50 accidents and like 12 deaths in total on space missions or something like that. You'd have to look it up, but so 6 missions later, you're now worried about it and concerned. No. Now, I get the money thing, but you know as well as I do, they're just taking this money anywhere they need to. They just take it out of the they just say, listen, we just need the money, we're going to head and grab it. Just make more. It'll be all right. And that's the way they look at it. And yeah. I think about that, and it drives me insane, just the lame excuses they use. Oops. Tony Gibbs, what's happening? Good to see you in there. He said 140 plus watching. Hit that button. Nail it. Hit it good. Let me see. There was one here. This thing just jumped on me here. Let me see here. New category said, Lockheed Martin is upgrading our submarines' inertial navigation. This is key for USOs. It's dead reckons the direction, position, speed of moving object with laser gyros. This new one is better. Well, I mean, they probably already know these things are from the ocean because they've seen it many a times, right? They'll either right there above the water and they just disappear, or they just take off instantly. But you always happen to see them near the ocean. So does it mean they're actually USOs? It's a possibility. I believe they probably are. Many of them probably are because, like I said, there's a lot of, oceans we haven't even explored yet. I forget how much percentage rate we haven't even explored. It's probably 80, 90%. We haven't really explored. And, so we just don't know what's down there. We got an idea, right? But like I said, when you go to the Marianas Trench, they seem crazy, like living creatures down there. Like I said, they have bioluminescence and stuff like that. Look like little police cars, like red and green lights going off. They found those in the Antarctic, in the oceans over there. It's just crazy stuff down there. Obviously things with no eyes because it's so dark down there. They've adapted. They don't need eyes. So, and the pressure down there would crush a human like instantly. Yet these things are swimming around down there. So, is it possible these other UFOs can go into there with no problem and just, go to their underground or underwater, rather, cities and stuff like that? I believe they can. And that's probably, like you said, they're improving their navigation and stuff like that, and probably their radar and probably lidar and everything else they got built into these things, right? Arts and crafts. I don't know if I said hi to you or not, but hello. I hope you're doing well. Robert Morgan's in there. What's going on, Robert? Kyle said they want us to get rid of our nuclear warhead. Well, even if we don't get rid of them, they definitely don't want us to use them. So you might as well get rid of them, right? They just don't want any warring on this planet. Maybe they just see good things for us in the future. Or maybe they know our future, can actually see it. And they're just going, stop these people from doing this before they kill themselves off. And they end up like people on Mars or other civilizations they may know of or had known of. Who knows, right? Eric Douglas, he says, I've seen a lot of things in the sky since lockdown over the last 15 months. Yeah, if you get the time, just look out in the skies. Now, don't get me wrong, you'll see satellites go by. And if you're really good, you know exactly where the ISS is. You can actually, if it's going over your area, you know exactly what time and where to look for it in the sky. But yeah, you see a lot of crazy things going in different directions, not just one direction. And obviously it's got a strobe on it, then chances are it's a commercial flight, things like that. But there's some things you just look and you go, clearly that's not, or at least it doesn't look like something that's ours. And some of the things that just go, they're like flying so fast, it's like, wow. Or if they happen to go like this and change direction, that may be something to keep an eye out on. I don't know if you've seen any of those. Elaine's in there. What's going on? Good to see. I don't know if I said hi to you as well, but hello. Christine Ingram's in there. You see you talking to Miss Haird. I can do better on Photoshop than they can. They ought to hire me. Yeah, no doubt. I can proofread those photos for them if they would like. Yep. Let me see here. This is what I was going to show you guys before, right? This is pretty interesting. Let me get rid of this here. Right. I don't know if it's this one here. I love this flash. Now, the way they explain this, they believe, what do they say here? Something to do with, I'm trying to remember if it was, let me get this thing off me here. Get this watch off. Let me see if I can go back to this one here. They talked about this as saying right here, Comet 67 Dust Devil. And some of them says it might be a plasma burst. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm confused because it says last year, a fountain of dust was spotted streaming from Rosetta's comet, prompting the question, how was it powered? Scientists now suggest that the outburst was driven from inside the comet, perhaps released of ancient gas vents or pockets of hidden ice. I'm going, okay, so let me get this right. It just happened to be going around and just orbiting around this comet, and this thing just happens to light this thing off. Just perfect timing. Yeah, I mean, who is it? Am I the only one here that looks at this thing and says, how do we know that's not a way for it's like one of its thrusters to actually keep itself in a certain position at all times and steady as it goes kind of thing? I mean, that's the first thing I thought about, was some kind of jet engine or some kind of plasma engine or something like that, for propulsion. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. Now, I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's what it popped in my mind, right? And if you look at some of these things here, folks, look at this. Look at these dual ring, what look like craters, but they're not craters. They're off the floor. You can see them. They're built up like walls, like round walls. And if you look right behind it, you can see something else. It's almost like a straight wall behind and almost has what looks like a 3/4 circle, like these here. See that? Kind of weird, right? If I'm not mistaken, there's some other stuff up here. Like you can see this weird piece right here. Let me see if I can do this. Look at some of these objects. Like this looks like almost like a little Y-shaped object right there in the middle of the circle. Something right there, right in the middle. That is kind of wild looking. But there's something else too, and I'm going to show you this. That's pretty cool. And the funny thing about it is when you see this photo, they show it a couple times, and you can see where they had the multi-photos in here. Let me see if this has got one of them. Yeah, look at this right here. This is cool. Looks like a rectangular structure or something right there in the middle. Looks like something right there. Well, you got this object down here. I'm going to put it right in the middle if I can. Right there. Check that out. Does that look normal to somebody? Does that look natural? It's got like these weird lines, like a design to it of some sort. I'm not sure what to make of that. Tony Gibbs just said, still finding new species. The pressure defies logic. Has to be balancing act. As much pressure is out, in as out. Only way to an organism could exist at those depths. Exactly. So somehow they're doing it where they're able to, like actually, like you said, withstand that pressure, right? It just happened to be around this when it just, boom, this thing lets off. Now, when they said dust up, I went, huh? Since when does dust actually light up? Now, don't get me wrong, as far as saying it's ice crystals, well, it could very well be that it could do that, right? Because, you know, it's a very good possibility sunlight hits them, and they, of course, I don't think it would glow quite that much. I could be wrong. I'm not an astrophysicist, but I just found that really wild that, like I said, it just happened to be there for that, right? Something right there in the middle of there. Look at the way it almost has these oval pieces too, right next to these two large ones. See that? Right here. And these weird looking shapes right in here. Pretty much in the center of the circle. See that? What do you guys make of that stuff? What do you think about the two of them here? In fact, we'll just put all of them right there in the circle. What do you guys think of that stuff? What's going on, Jonathan Waddell? Good to see you there. He said, hello, kind sir. What's happening? Let me see. Yep, Samantha Morris is in there. Hello, what's going on? Good to have you folks in there. Mimi, you said, Chris, have you seen the monolith? Are you talking about on here, or are you talking about on Phobos? There are things here. In fact, it almost looked like there was something right here. And look at the two rectangular pieces at the base of it. See that right there? You guys see that? Now, I don't know if this is just shadowing and stuff, weird stuff, just playing games with our eyes here, but You can see it right there. And you would think because the sun's coming from the, well, I'm going to say from the top of the photo down to this, because you can see it right here. North is here. So it's basically coming out of the northeast, right? You can see it right there. Now, I don't see a shadow behind it, though. That's my only thing. But right there, but you can see these two rectangular pieces right there in the middle of the circle, right there, one on the side of each other. See that? I mean, I'm sure there's a possibility that, you know, nature could do this, but it's just weird how it happens to be near here, and I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Wes says it's McDonald's. Sweet. All right. I thought there was some golden arches right there. Anybody hungry? Oh, hold on. I just got mine. I just got it. There's an Uber driver that brought it to me. Sorry, guys. I'd like to share it with you, but can't put it through the microphone. But, yeah, you never can tell, right? Oh, that's good. But like I said, I just see these shapes here. They just, I don't know. What's the chances of that? Down to this lower area here. You can actually look in the back of this. Now that I see this, the more and more I see this back here, look at this, all behind it. There's another one here. Kind of distorted on one area of it. But look at this right here. This whole area behind these. You got like a square cutout right here. Interesting. All right there. What's the chance of all four of those? Because there's one here. We've seen these main two. One here. Looks like they get joined right there. And they got another one back here. What are the chances of that? Something right here. You can see all these pieces right here along these. Matthew said, it looked to me like corals, possibly some type of holding area for animals. Sounds crazy, I know, but if there are living creatures aboard, they would need to eat and breeding program for sustainment. That could very well be. But unless they have their way of just like manufacturing some kind of food that they eat, who knows, right? It's really hard to tell. But I don't think that looks natural when you have that many of those in that one area. Yeah, and in fact, I'm looking at this right here. Look at this object right here. Looks like it has this round piece, like a round piece right here, and something sticking right out of the center of it, right here. You guys see that? Right there, just underneath the little cursor arrow. Looks like there's a rectangular piece right here. Right there. And look, there's more of these. Look, there's a round one here. Almost looks like there's something right there. But check that out. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, maybe a 6. A couple pieces up here. Look at this right here. What is that at the very top here? Even some of these areas here. Right there. Nah, something tells me these are not natural rocks. Just happen to be in this flat area, nice and smooth. Right there. Again, another square piece right above that. I don't know. What are you guys seeing in here? Let me go all the way to the bottom here. I don't know if I just jump right down here. Yeah, you're right about that, new chaotic order. You said those two rings make an infinity symbol, the sideways 8. Yep, makes it pretty much, right? But again, there's like, what's the chance of 5 of those and maybe a 6, that smaller one? Like I said, this is not the last photo we're going to be doing of, 67p. we're definitely going to be doing more of that. Much, much more of that. Of course, there'll be also other videos, too. Yeah, that looks really wild to me, this here. Let me do this. Right there. And here's that other piece down here. That's kind of odd right there. And you can see a little blurring going on. Of course, the closer you get into this thing, the resolution goes to crap on it. But notice the blurring and everything right here. I don't know what this is supposed to be. But look at the shadow to this. See that? It looks like it has a skinny, narrow base right here closest to it. You guys see that? Right there. And then it comes out like this, nice and smooth, and goes up. See that? And then it goes back in, and it goes back to this narrow part. This thing, it looks like a tower of some sort. You guys see that? That's pretty neat. Martin R., good day, Hangout crew. What's going on, Martin? Good to see you in there. Great point, Steve Garnham. You said any civilization that came to our solar system would have gone to all of the planets and moons, not just ours. Exactly, I totally agree. What's going on, Dean Brazil? Said, hi, Chris. I'm late again. Hope everyone is okay. We're doing fine there, Dean. I hope you're doing well. Good to have you in there. Californium Kinetic Soup, he said, what's causing the bright light? Well, they're saying it's like, first they said dust devil. Then they're saying it was some kind of plasma offshoot. I'm going, okay, which one is it here? Let me go back, put that like that. Okay, then we got this one here. And if you read this, a plume of dust from Comet 67, and it says seen by ESA's Rosetta spacecraft on July 3rd, 2016, provided evidence that an outburst was powered from deep inside the comet, perhaps released from ancient gas vents of pockets of hidden ice. And like I said, just coincidentally, boom, it just happened to be there. Now, is it possible they just happened to get lucky? Sure. It says right here, you can see a discharging plasma a discharging plasma arc creating incredibly fine dust through a process similar to electric discharge machining. Spark EDM? Yeah. I don't know about all that, but yeah. Now, when you look at this left photo here, it's got this little orange arrow to it, and it's showing it where it's located here on the flat side of this, right here on the left as well. And then you look at here, more defined. Why does it look so much different? I mean, it's got a lot of similarities, but a lot of it is different. I'm not seeing a lot of the things we're seeing over here. Even though this is farther away, I don't care. It still looks a lot different. See, again, there's another square piece here. I think the structure's all in between this. But again, we have to understand you're probably not going to see structures like you see here on Earth. Nobody says anybody's going to build like we do. It depends on atmosphere. It depends on your situation, right? So I don't think they're going to build the same way we would. Claire Mead, you said it looks like a tower. Yeah, exactly. And I think you're talking about that other photo. We had the other up close one, right? What's going on there, Michael Stark? You said, oh, it's 67p. That whole thing is constructed mechanical machine craft that can change shape. Real Jimmy 1 did a great video of, showing the details. Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know if it would actually change shapes, but like he said, and I totally concur, is that this stuff here, and this to me looks like something that was built. Now, maybe they built into an asteroid and decided to use it as an outpost. And just like I said, all you got to do is stop propelling yourself and then shut off whatever propulsion you have and just go with it. And what we're seeing is that maybe that's one of the actual jets, plasma jets, to actually keep this thing in a trajectory where it needs to go. And they just happen to be there to see it. I don't know. Pure speculation, but I just find it coincidental that they just happen to see that. Just happen to be there when it happened. Let's see what else we got here. You never know what you're going to find in these things. It's kind of a funny looking boulder, don't you think? Giant rock type thing. Something right there. Not sure what to make of that. Well, this is interesting. Right here in the middle of the circle. Look at this long piece. Right there. See that? Right smack dab in the middle of that magnified circle there. Curtis Bonus, what's going on? Good to see you in there. I think you said build? Well, I mean, look at this funky looking shapes in here. Something like a light color. Like I said, this elongated piece here. Pieces right here, these white pieces. Now, some of these obviously could be boulders, but some of these things have these funky shapes. And of course, not every rock's going to be one shape, so it's hard to tell what these things are. But something tells me they got a lot of things that look like we see on Mars. Like they look like almost like like what Jean Ward shows, right? Where you can see like the top of what looks like a megalithic rock or boulder, a stone, call it what you will, but what's underneath it is a whole different thing, right? Noodles, what's going on? Must have just jumped in there. I haven't seen you. Yes, Martin, you're right. Opinions vary. Absolutely. That's why I'd like to get your take on it as well. Tony Gibbs, you said, I think they were trying poorly to hide that tower, monolith thing. Well, the only reason why I say it's probably not a tower is because I don't see a shadow to it. But that doesn't mean they didn't modify the thing somehow to actually still try to hide it, right? We don't know. There was something else in here. I'm trying to remember where I seen this thing. It was just outside the screen. Let me see if it was on this bottom photo. Yeah, here it is. Right in this, I'll show you right here with the magnifier. Right here. To the very right. Now we should be able to see this in the other one if we have a look. We should be able to see this right there. Looks like some kind of ring type thing. And of course we have the other two here. And the other weird looking oval almost type shape. So let's see. Yeah, it is kind of right there. It's right there. Looks like it just stops right there. Where the other one almost looks like a complete ring. Look, a Mercedes emblem. It actually looks like a Mercedes emblem too. That's pretty funny. Right there. Yep. Look at this thing. It's like overhanging this cliff. It's got like this kind of bend, almost like a claw or a fingernail coming right out of the ground there. See it right there, that little white piece? See if I can't bring this in a little further. But I think it's going to go off the screen. Yeah. Yep. That sucks. Right here. We got something right there. If you look carefully, there's a little rectangular piece here. Almost hidden. with a round circle on it. We got something else that looks like it's kind of right on the side of this cliff. All right? Got these rectangular pieces here. What's going on there, Pat Owen? Good to see you in there. Everybody's jumping in on there. Matthew, you asked, do you notice any tracks, paths, or any other unusual disturbances possibly from surface activity? Well, it's hard to see that because it's hard to tell exactly. I forget how far this Rosetta was from the actual comet at this point, because I know it did change a little bit on the orbit, so I'm not really sure, and it's hard to tell because it might be really, really small to see, right? And now in some areas we've seen, like on Mars, we've seen satellite photos where it looks like there was pathways, what looks like between these monolithic rocks and stuff, or like on the ground, you see like a smooth area, like it kind of snakes up a hillside, almost looks like it could have been some kind of pathway or something like that. Josh D says, after midnight here, an early day. Sorry all, we'll miss you. And until next time, thank you all. And thank you, Chris. Well, Mars only. Well, thank you, Josh. Good to have you in there. As always, make sure you're safe, stay safe, and have yourself a good weekend there, right? New Chaotic Order says, statue. Yeah, I was thinking of that. I think you're talking about this piece here, but it looks like it comes off the ground quite high. That piece right there in the middle of the circle. And it looks like it has, like I said, almost like a claw. Like a cat's claw, it kind of comes out like that, has a point to it. Really, really weird. And something right there as well, hanging off that. Heck, for all we know, they're probably cranes to pick things off from the bottom of this cliffside, right? I'm not saying that's what it is, but if you notice this circle right here, there is something right here inside it. Check this out. I don't think I can get any closer to it. Nope. That's the way it's doing that. Let me see. Yeah, right here in this one right here. Looks like there's something tall and rectangular standing up right in. You guys see that? Right there on the right-hand side inside that. And it looks like it has 1, 2, 3 like white circles. I don't know if you guys can see that because you may be on a lot smaller devices. And then to the left of that, it looks like what's some kind of flat piece, but it looks like it's like an angle piece. It goes nice and flat and then comes down into the other side of this. I'm going to call it a crater wall right there. But there's two pieces within this one here. One on the left and one on the right. It looks like it's like a rectangular tower inside that. And, of course, you get this flat piece with this, looks like a piece of angle piece right there. What do you guys think of that? That's kind of weird. Like I said, once you get into these photos and take a good, close look at these things, you never know what you're going to find in here. What's going on there, Your Highness? Good to see you in there. Michael Stark, he said, Chris, that one last Apollo video you did with the rover, did you notice that there were no tracks, how the rover got there to where it was? Rover was added later. Excuse me. So much BS in NASA's pictures. But yeah, absolutely, I agree. It's like you guys jumped all over it when you talked about the shadows. Totally different. First of all, why would you put a light source behind an astronaut taking a photo? Would you not try to put that around on both right and left so you can light up the area he's trying to take a photo in? In other words, the area he's trying to take a photo. When you have why would they do that? It's almost like they're trying to get your eyes to just focus on that particular area. And like I said, the footprints look way too close for that astronaut. It looked like it was literally just a few feet away. And yet the astronaut was, like, it didn't even look like a 6 to 8, maybe a foot tall. It just didn't jive to me. Nothing made sense about that photo. Excuse me. But I think they're trying to mess with the size of what's in the background. So again, if it is a real astronaut and it was in the background, okay, that makes sense. And you go, wow, those mountains must be huge then, if that astronaut's that far off. But what if, and I believe it's fake, is that's either some kind of little statuette type thing, or they superimposed that there. One of the two. It doesn't look real to me. That's just my opinion. And that what we're seeing in the background are not mountains at all, but maybe large parts or something that's exploded on the lunar surface, right? Just really weird. Well, I'm glad to have you here as well, Pat. Good to see you in there. Yeah, I agree with you, Robert. You said looks like a city off to the right of that picture. I think you're talking about this one here. You can see what looks like almost like a star shape right here. See that? Right in this area. And it has like a central circle right in the center of it. Of course, you don't see the others. Either way, it almost looks like star shape kind of thing. Just really weird stuff in these photos. And keep in mind, this also has a bunch of blurring in it. It has, different colors they try to put over this to take it out. Try to put these smooth surfaces in there just to hide what's really in there. Yeah. Californium, you said maybe it's an eternal comet prison? You know what? Your guess is as good as mine. Of course, we are getting a little sci-fi on it, but who knows? We don't even know what its purpose is, right? Can you imagine they just took everybody that was ever evil on your planet, just stuck them on there? Just say, yeah, you guys are good. You got food until that runs out. And you're all screwed. Yeah. I just thought this was really wild that, again, coincidental how this just happened to be flying over this area, and that just happened to happen right then and there. Trying to get into that area right there. I believe this is all smooth out for a reason. This isn't real. Just some of the stuff we see. Something else right here. You can see the way this almost looks like it has a wall around it. It looks like something's pretty high right there. Can't tell, though. Yeah, it looks like there's actually things right here, too. I just noticed that. Right here. Right there. This looks like an opening right here, like almost like a little small, like a small little opening right there. And you have things right here. Look like they try to distort this area right here. It looks like things standing up off the actual surface right there, right? And look at these fine lines. You guys see this? This is funky. Right here. Look at these fine lines right there. Right there. It goes like this. It's inside this squared out area. Look at these little fine lines. There's one large object right here, one small one. There's a fine line right between them. There's a fine line going behind them. Comes down. There's one between them. There's one right here going like, what are the chances of that seeing this on this rock? Yeah, I don't believe that's definitely doesn't belong there. Martin R., he said, respect Chris's crew. Well, it's all about how we actually take these things apart too, right? I just like doing these things and just really pulling these things apart. And I know you guys enjoy doing it too. A lot of you guys are like, man, I can't wait for the next photo to come out. We can really analyze and pull apart. West, you said 2 starships. Well, it's hard to tell what these things could be, right? But sometimes when you look at some of these things, you just go, okay, it doesn't look, again, like natural. It looks like it was intelligently built somehow. Again, it's anyone's guess as to what these things could be. But when you see a bunch of squares, rectangles, and stuff off the ground next to one another, you can't help but to say, okay, clearly they have to be, and it's not, they don't have to be as a rule, but they look like structures. That's all you can pretty much say, right? Kurt Abanas, you said perhaps a large rock hurled after a collision with the moon itself. That's a very good possibility. Yep. Very good possibility. Tony Gibbs, you said, I think the flash obscures the show of the tower. I was going to say shower. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe it's a giant shower for aliens. No, on a serious note, though, I mean, yeah, we don't know. And again, they always put something to get your eyes to attract to that, right? To that one area. But if that's real, and it does look like it's real, we've seen something like that on the moon before. There's like a plasma burst, but it looked like it was in lightning. It looked like a lightning crackle type thing, or a lightning bolt. And it was like shooting from inside a crater, I think from one to another. Really odd. This doesn't look like this at all. It looks like some kind of power, like surge, like flash. At least that's what it looks like to me. It's almost like there's just bright lights, kind of like we've seen in Enceladus, right? On that moon. I don't believe those for a moment are, ice crystals coming out of there. Especially when, it's one thing to have the sun shining at them, and that makes sense because ice obviously is reflective. But when you see it, it's not even in the sun at all. Nowhere in the sun. Where we seen on them photos, I did a video on that on Enceladus before, and they look like high-powered spotlights as opposed to ice crystals because it was literally in the South Pole, and it was on the south, meaning it was on the bottom of the moon. They showed from a distance, and yet the sunlight was coming from the top right of that. It was nowhere even in that area, and yet it was glowing really close, really bright, and as close to that moon as you could possibly get, and it was shining outward. There's no way. There's no way that is. Now, if it was right there, like it is showing here, very good possibility, right? Because there's plenty of sun here. We can see that. Yes, it does, Martin. You said, does it spin? Yes, it actually rotates. I forget how fast they said it was rotating, if it was even fast at all, but it did say it kind of tumbles along, right? Noodles, is there actually what do you call it, Event Horizon 2? I know the Event Horizon was a good, I think you're talking about the movie, I think, but if you are, that was a really good movie. Tony Gibbs, you said, that's not outgassing unless there was an ignition source. Well, yeah, it's the way they make it sound, it's like, yeah, something has to ignite that, right? But they're saying, oh, well, first it's a dust devil. Wait a minute, I've never seen a dust devil shine like that. But I think what they're saying is that it somehow, like, basically blew ice crystals up from that area. Oh, okay. But again, wouldn't it have to be some kind of explosion or something of that sort? Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Let me see. Lunatech. This is part of the bounty on the moon, and they ejected themselves to freedom. Pirates. Yeah, I mean, you don't hear much about it anymore, do you, Pete? You said, what I want to know is what happened with this object that got so much NASA's attention. Exactly. Or have they just got what they needed, the information out of it? And you can see it took pretty decent photos. And, of course, we're seeing some stuff that's been censored on here. So they probably saw the real deal. And they probably can tell whether this thing has its own power source. And to me, that looks like a power source. And like I said, it could be some kind of a... like some small rocket type thing actually keeping this thing in its trajectory. And maybe not. Maybe it is some kind of weird outgassing type thing. I don't know why it would look like that, but okay. And maybe they've seen enough on there and they know there's nothing living on it. Maybe they can tell. And yet they can see the structures all over this and they go, okay, we'll go back to it. Maybe there's more technology you can pick up by getting closer to it, landing on there, or try it again to attempt to land on it again, right? And more 42 says, hey, everyone, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Nicholas Papa Sr.'s in there. What's the orbital period? I'm not sure off the top of my head, Nicholas. I know, I'm trying to remember how long they had to actually slingshot around it a couple times and then slowly get closer and closer to it because, again, this thing is actually moving kind of slowly, tumbling. And, of course, they got to get locked into an orbit where they're not going to crash into this thing. But again, they did have the Philae lander which it got information off of this comet, but it ultimately got lodged in a crevice where it's dark, and of course it couldn't power back up again. At least that's their explanation, right? There you go, Tony. He said, how long before Elon builds on a comet and takes a ride? Isn't that like perfect way to do it, I think? Again, you're kind of like incognito type thing. You just look like a rock floating out in space, and yet you can just be on there. But again, you'd have to figure a way to, keep the crew alive and stuff like that, eating and stuff like that. So, yeah, unless you have an endless kind of, food supply, if you will, or you can grow food without sun. But the way I look at it is this: they don't even have to have people on it. How about just equipment that's bolted to the ground, and then it's just whatever they want to actually use, whatever equipment they want to use, whether it's spectro analyzers or any kind of analyzer like infrared, whatever, just taking pictures, sending back to Earth. All they're going to do is just attach it to this comet and let it fly, let it go. And they can send all kinds of information back. It's a camera on the move and can take high definition photos, send it back to Earth, and there you go. It sounds pretty logical as far as I'm concerned, and I believe they have the technology because they tried it with the Philae lander. Now, that doesn't mean that the way they claim it basically became dead after it got stuck in that crevice. Did it really? I don't know. I don't know. I'm noticing this right here. This is pretty tall right here. At least it looks like that. And look at the way they do. It looks like they mess with this right here as well. You see like a blur going down the side right here. See this? There's something right there at the very top, or the very side, almost to the, I don't know, right there. Yeah, they did something to the face of this thing, whatever it is. They did something to this. And you can see like the line of it right there. And there's something sticking out of the side of it right there. I wonder if that's something much larger there standing there too. I didn't notice that. Again, you got to fix your eyes. And like you said earlier, Miss here, you said that that tower there, it's like they're trying to block out right there. But look at the size of this. If this is the top of something, and it's our eyes that have to adjust to it, what could that be? See the size of that right next to that flash? Lapis, you said they have matter with it, energy to use. Well, again, if it's a plasma or whatever it may be, it looks more of an energy source more than anything, right? Pete Vlogs, you said we will colonize Mars in 2033. Yeah, Mora was something. You guys, I see Noodles, you're talking about it to Mimi. You know, that one scientist believes absolutely that was some sort of spacecraft. And if you think about it, why not? All they had to do to that thing is just simply basically shut the power off to that thing and let it tumble through our solar system. And you notice how it went through the solar system and right back out towards the sun again. It went right back out and see ya. Came in. It made a loop inside our solar system and back out. Yeah. You would have thought it just come in and straight out of our solar system, right through it. Ricardo, you said RCS thrusters? Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Is it possible that they happen to see that thing go off and for whatever reason? Now, of course, we're purely speculating. We know that, right? But the way that thing looks, I don't know. Pretty interesting as far as I'm concerned. All right, let me see here. Another close-up to it. You can see a blur right here. There's a blur line right here. And dropping straight down. I like that. What the heck is that? Right there, you can see a straight line of blur going right across this right here. It goes up and does it to this whole piece right here. I mean, guys, come on. What is that? Let me check something here. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see this here. Yeah, they definitely are hiding something there. Not sure what to make of that, but I mean, you can literally see that. Look at this. Straight line of blur right there and then dropping down. And it goes up like this and follows this whole thing. The whole side of it's blurred out. No, they would never do that. Come on now. They wouldn't hide that stuff. Ooh, Spacequake. Jerry Lehane, you said we are geared to interpret rocket because we are stuck in the time of rockets. Yeah, exactly. We don't know if this thing is absolutely like some kind of other propulsion we're just not aware of. Well, this person put, sorry, how on earth are you getting an EDM at a comet? That is a ludicrous idea, and it'd be detected. How hot is the EDM? Obviously not hot enough that water ice grains can't exit within the jet. Comets are composed of ice and dust. There's plenty of evidence for that. We really don't need to be making up unscientific and nonsensical ideas of explaining something that is already well explained. So the way they're talking about it, let me see something here. It stands for, I'm trying to remember what exactly that stood for, the EDM. See, it's saying spark EDM, electric discharge machine. Yeah. That's why he said, how are you getting an EDM at a comet? Now, they're answering to this right here. Yeah. That's actually pretty cool. But, again, I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if there's something there that's put there so it get your mind off of this large item here. Right there, like I said, this, what looks like it's been blurred out. You can see it goes from here to all the way to the top. And it almost looks like it blends with the background, but you can see clearly, unless, of course, this is the side of this cutout area, and we're seeing something in there. But, again, you can see the blur. I don't know. Initially, scientists thought that the plume might have been a surface ice evaporating in the sunlight. However, Rosetta's measurements show that it had to be something more energetic going on to fling that amount of dust into space. Energy must have been released from beneath the surface to power it, says Jessica. There are eventually processes Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Evidently, I'm sorry. There are evidently processes in comets that we do not yet fully understand. Rosetta scientists are now combining measurements from the comet with computer simulations and laboratory work to find out what drives such plumes on comets. Yeah, so even it sounds like they're even questioning, like they don't have a clue about what's going on, right? Robert Morgan, he said, what about their nuclear power plant? Yeah, we don't even know what this is. Again, what if this is some kind of intelligently made spaceship to make it look like a rock? Again, pure speculation, but what if? And they've got their own power source in there, and they can, like I said, they can direct this thing where they want it to go, and they just happen to be there when this thing did this. How do we know? Nicholas Poppers, it's a theme park. There you go. Yeah, good. If anything's possible, right? Kurt Abana, she said, Chris, there's a big shadow line below the object. You saying right here? I think that's what you're saying right there. Yeah, whatever this thing is, but to see the shadow should be much taller. You can see like this up in the upper right corner here. Some kind of something right there with a shadow. And then, again, we see the blurring, and we don't see much of a shadow here, so I don't know what's going on there. Not really sure. Let me see something over here. Looks like something sticking out or something weird shadow. Right here, too. I just noticed this. It's almost covered up. Right there. In the middle of that circle. And it looks like something sticking out of the top of it right there. You guys see that? Put it right in the middle of the circle. Almost like this looks like a weird, distorted eye drop kind of shape to that. It looks like a little structure or whatever. Well, I don't know how big it is, but I'm saying in the photo it's little, right? Pete's Vlogs, you said, Chris, what is that shine? Well, again, they're saying it's some kind of dust devil, but it's saying that it kicked up ice particles, so therefore you're getting a shine. That's a lot of ice crystals to be doing that, to shine the way that is. And you would think it would be like more of a shadow shining on the other side. It'd be a shadow more on this side. You can see a little bit of blurring, a little bit, but wouldn't it be shining on just one side of the ice crystals and not on both? Of course, the way they're flying up in the air, it would look like a disco ball, I would think, because it'd be turning and twisting and turning in all directions, right? Lunatech, you said, maybe it's just an orbiter, but not ours. Well, it could be. Martin Wolf Wright, you said, wouldn't they just paint over it like they normally do? Well, you can see where they put it like a blur here. I don't know if you've seen that, but... And I can see this pretty darn well. Right there, going straight across. That whole area, and then goes straight down. And you can see them like white pieces in there. See this? But you can see where they went right across here. Goes up. Goes like this here. And follows it. And again, you can see going straight across. No information at all. And then you can see whatever right here. The details right here. But then it goes straight down. See it? So I'm not sure what to make of that. Maybe this is a lot skinnier, and then it is still casting its own shadow. Because some of these things don't look like they got really long shadows if you really think about it. But you think, obviously, the taller, the bigger the shadow. But that's not always the case. The shadow would just be closer to said tall object. Unless, of course, the sun was going in a totally different direction, meaning it was almost on the horizon. Then it would be incredibly long shadow, right? Gary Miller, you said, your question was, what does the source look like on the bottom photo? Well, if you've seen the other, you can see where it was not on. Where did it go? Why isn't it showing that one? You can see it right here. For some reason, it's not showing that particular one. Let's do this. Whoop, a little too much. Back her out. Now, clearly there's nothing there, right? And suddenly this right here is completely blacked out, right? That thing is still there. And you see this circle right here. There's a bunch of small pieces. You guys see that? Right there. I'm going to take this right out of the frame. I thought so. Yeah, there's a few pieces down here. Like there's something curved right there. There's something long right there. Oh, yeah. And what looks like a bunch of little structures in this, looks like a smaller crater type thing. That thing's still standing up right there. At least it looks like that way. Something right there. Oh, yeah. Like I said, we'll definitely be looking at this a lot closer. No doubt. Ricardo, you said, I think you need to consider the explanation by the Thunderbolts project for the electric comet theory. Highly plausible and makes perfect sense. I agree with it in some aspects I don't. And the reason why I don't is because, like I said, just because it could be simulated doesn't mean that that's what it is. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I throw the possibility out? No, definitely not. But like I said, it can be simulated. Doesn't always mean that's the truth, right? We got to think both sides of it. That it could have been something totally different and not the cause at all. But like I said, I'm not dismissing that idea out. Definitely not. Because, I've seen it. I've watched the videos on this same thing and how they had it in the lab. And they tested it and everything else. And it pretty much kind of like when you look at the scar on Mars where you can see that, right? They were saying it's probably caused by some electrical, like almost like a giant lightning bolts, right? Like plasma lightning bolts or something to that effect. So I'm not dismissing it, but I'm not saying I'm totally on board with it either. Pete's Vlog said they can't explain it. Pretty much. Californium, he said, gotta go, spill my bong. That's not good. All right, man. If you want to take it off, have yourself a good one there, right? Yeah, don't be doing that. New Chaotic Order says, truth is stranger than fiction. Yeah, absolutely. Nicholas, you said they didn't slam something onto it, did they? Well, it wasn't done purposely. It was the filet lander that they had go on there to take, to actually catapult onto it. But that's not what they were trying to do. They were trying to anchor it to the surface of that, comet. And what happened was it pretty much bounced off. The harpoon bounced off and never did go into it. And it caused the filet lander to actually bounce and then bounced again and then bounced into a crevice. And that's pretty much where it laid. And like I said, I think they got it to work. Like sun shined on it a little bit because it's solar paneled. I don't understand why they would do that for something they're going to send out there for important, studies. Yeah, let's just put solar powered on there because it's always going to be facing the sun. I mean, think about this, how silly that sounds. I don't think they should put that as, and I don't think they did actually have it as solar powered. I think it was actually nuclear powered. Heck, we got satellites out in space that have been nuclear powered for years, since the 60s. So it's not like they can't use that and send that there and still keep, taking readings. And maybe it's like it can sense what's going on inside that comet and it's relaying the information back. Again, I wouldn't send something to a rock that's spinning out in space. How is it possibly going to be able to stay charged if it's constantly turning? It's going to need steady stream of energy. So what better way to do it? To me, I think it's nuclear powered, but showed solar panels. Oh, yeah, now it's in the shade. It's junk. How do we know? So you dismiss the mission. And so, yeah, that thing's junk. It was junk a long time ago. Or was it? I don't know. I don't believe that it is. Lunatech, you said maybe some kind of a reactor like Aristarchus. Yes. Because there have been many things in that crater too, right on the moon. Absolutely crazy. And there's structures in there. All kinds of crazy stuff in there. But yeah, we don't know. I mean, to me, it looks like an energy source more than anything. And it's like discharge. It's just, maybe it's, it's like a blow-off valve, so to speak. Just whoosh, let it off every now and then. Or it's like a retro rocket type thing to just, keep it in its where it needs to go. Oh, yeah. Real cool stuff here. Let me see something here. SpaceX drone ship moves to California for West Coast rocket landings. Virgin Orbit gearing up for autumn launch and busy 2022. China picks up launch pace with 3 space missions in 4 days. No, they're not trying to get this stuff up there quick. China appears to be returning to its pre-pandemic pace of launching back-to-back space missions. And somebody's got a lot of money. Methane in plume of Saturn's moon Enceladus could be a sign of alien life, studies suggest. Because it does have a subsurface sea. You can see it right here. The methane wafting from Enceladus may be a sign that life teems in the Saturn moon's subsurface sea, a new study reports. Yeah, it is. Like I said, we don't even know if this is just a shell on the outside and there's a whole planet inside, if that makes sense. We live on the outside of Earth. It's crust. It's, mantle and crust, right? How do we know it's not the opposite in there? Like they're protected by this outer shell, and maybe it's all ocean, and maybe this is like a Dyson sphere in the middle of this ocean or in the middle of this moon. Remember the cutout they showed? Like it's like the moon is actually hollow and it has like this middle structure like a ball, and that everything revolves around it, everything flies around it, and everything else. It's a giant city in there. How do we know they don't live within the moon as opposed to like we do on this planet? We live on the outside of it. It sounds very sci-fi, but that's not the point. It just, we don't know how these other beings live, right? I'm going to jump way down here. This thing just jumped on me anyways. I'm going to try to get to the bottom here. Steve got him. He said solar panels all the way around, Chris, always in sunlight. Well, my whole point was that if it's on the actual surface of the comet, well, the comet's always turning. It's twisting and just kind of turning in space. So how is the actual lander getting its sun? Now, obviously, once it rotates and gets into the sunlight, it can get some. But solar power takes a while to actually charge up a battery. It's not like instantaneous. And we don't even know how bright that sun is unless it's real close to the sun at the time. And then, of course, it gets into the sunlight, the actual solar rays get into the sunlight, then it could charge. But once it still continues to turn head over tail type thing, it's not going to charge. So how are they doing that? Small launch startup Astra aiming for 300 missions per year by 2025. Look at everybody's taking off. Space tourism, 20 years in the making, is finally ready for launch. Here we go, folks. It is a-coming. Everybody's getting out there. Ricardo, thank you very much for your support. And I hate to see you go. You said I must bid you all good night. It's been a great hangout tonight. Interesting chat and varied ideas. As always, it's the people that make this channel great, not just the videos. Absolutely agree with you. It's actually more the people, believe it or not, even though I make the videos. But I've said this before. It's like this channel's not a channel without its subs. So a big thank you to you, Ricardo, as well as everybody else here. You guys are just awesome, and I do appreciate your support. So anyway, have yourself a good night, good weekend. Be safe, and I will definitely see you later, right? And again, thank you very much for your support, as always. I like that. Richard Branson says he isn't racing Jeff Bezos into space with Virgin. Sure they are. Come on. It's all about bragging rights, right? That's what it comes down to. Think about it. The first one that goes out there and test flies their equipment, and they get it just right, meaning they got it perfected pretty much, everything's good. They're the ones that are ahead of everything. They can stop making true money off it. Right now, these guys are dumping all kinds of money. There's nothing really profitable about it unless they're subcontracted through NASA or some other space agency to help them fly stuff out into space. Other than that, they're putting their own money into this stuff, guys. So at some point, it will become profitable, but as you can see, they're building these things. It will come there. So, yeah. Sean Turner, thank you very much for your support, brother. I do appreciate you. You said, taking a walk and so happy to be able to still be able to listen to the Hangout with this great community and still able to super chat. Oh, I do appreciate that. And like I said, I do appreciate your support. I'm glad to see you in there. I don't think you've been in there very long, have you? I haven't seen you in there. But I'm glad you're there. Do appreciate you. All right, Nicholas, I'm going to try to do the same. I'm going to have a great week as well. In fact, I don't know if you guys know this, because I haven't said anything yet. This week coming up, we'll still be making videos and everything, but the weekend after that, vacation. I will not be on. I may try to knock out a couple I can actually remote just post on there. So I might be able to do that. I'm not sure yet. So, but this week coming up will be fine. Try to knock out a couple videos for you, but then the week after that, we'll be going on vacation. So there will be another Friday night, if everything goes well, and my work doesn't jerk me around. But yeah, there should be Hangout next Friday as well as like I said, right up to the end of the week. So we should be fine. And now, like I said, the week after, rather, I keep wanting to say weekend, but the week after that, yeah, I'll be on vacation. Let me see. Things jumping on me here. All right. Nicholas, you said, been working and talking about nuclear-powered engines in space. Well, anything from ion to plasma. Like I said, I've got a hint from somebody who told me, he said that when I asked about both propulsions, they said, think plasma. I was like, okay. So this is what made me think when I saw these photos of Comet 67P, that is that far-fetched to believe that maybe there's some kind of propulsion, and it just came on and then quit. It just needed to do it, because you can see in this lower picture here that there's nothing there. But that's the same exact area. You can see this ridge right here, just, to the left and just upward of this brighted area. You can see this ridge coming down. You can see everything else. It's not there anymore. It's literally at the end of this right here. So it's not there. But it's almost like it just like it hit like a rocket type thing, and that was the end of it. Now, is that true? I don't know. Tony Gibbs, you said a big thank you to you, Chris. You are the reason we are here and actually have the nerve to smack NASA in the nose and beat them at their own game. Well, I appreciate that, Tony. I mean, it's just something I like to do anyway, right? Because I don't know what I'm going to find in these either, but sometimes it's that, wow, holy crap moment where you find some really, really cool stuff on these. And, like I said, you guys would be surprised as how many photos there's just really nothing in there to either try to pull out, meaning they have such a really good, they've really manipulated or censored out that photo to where you can't pull anything out, or they actually just zoomed into an area that has nothing at all, meaning it's just natural rocks, and that's all it is. And then you go, oh, okay, well, we already know what rocks like, so we don't have to do videos on those. Move them along, and then go to the stuff that actually is standing out, and it doesn't look not natural at all. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically what it comes down to, and that's what we do, right? So a big thank you to all of you fine folks. Nicholas, you said, you're going to that asteroid, aren't you? It'd be nice. I'd love to. Gosh, it might be a little cold and lonely out there, yeah. Might need a female companion to go up there. MG Toe, what's going on? I didn't even see you in there, brother. He said, where are you going on vacation? Would you like to be shot up into space with Jeff and Richard? Shh, I'm not going to say nothing. Maybe that is the trip I'm going on. Yeah. Nope, heading down to Florida. Definitely getting out of here, at least to get out of the state for a little bit. Mimi, yeah, I wouldn't mind going there either. please bring some souvenirs. You said, are you going to Mars, Chris? That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Get your own money if you're a multi-billionaire. Be able to do that. Have a space agency build it for you. Christine, oh no, you can't have time off, Chris. You're going to the moon, be honest. Man, you guys, you bagged me already. James Cragen, thank you very much for your support, sir. As always, you said, Chris, with all the talk about the Apollo 17 being the last mission, you and me and many have talked about this before. They never stopped going up. And yeah, I still don't believe that they have. Like I said, that lame excuse they got about, the astronauts are talking about it, and they said that it would be dangerous to, if you did any more missions, it'd be dangerous to the astronauts. Again, we just went 6 of them, but suddenly you're concerned. No, I don't believe that. Nope, not in a million years. Because like I said, if you go up there and you see these things, chances are they didn't cover everything that's up there. They only made the 6, plus they had a couple, the Soviet Union had the Lunokhod rover. It traveled quite a distance on the moon. And there was other lander missions and stuff like that. We got China going up there on the other side of the moon. And, like I said, once they went up there, they seen something up there of great importance. This is the reason why they went there to begin with, right? So, to me, it just makes sense that if they seen what we're seeing in these photos, and I know they have, then again, hence the reason why they were freaked out on Apollo 11, because Apollo 10 never landed, right? It just kind of orbited around the moon. But 11, they were the first ones to actually go on the moon, so they're the first ones to probably be totally freaked out, and they were, as far as I'm concerned, and just from the way they were at that press conference. So to me, if they seen those, and then of course they had the other missions after the fact, up to 17, and yeah, but let's just not go. Unless they're talking about some kind of, safety for the astronauts for what's on the moon, that's a possibility. But again, 6 missions later, and, they're worried about it. I don't know. But I don't believe for a moment that they stopped going. Nicholas, you said, or it's a complex gas release. Yeah, I mean, it could be, something they're manufacturing, and it's just like I said, it's just like a valve just shooting off like a plasma energy just going off, right? Goat Hot, I didn't even see you in there. I didn't know you stuck in there. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes I'm like scrolling down, all of a sudden this thing just jumps on me, and it's just like, I guess that's how I'm missing people here and there. Well, Tony, don't let it get the best of you. You said my keyboard is arguing with me. There you go, Steve. You said if you're going to Canada, Chris, don't forget your Factor 500 sunscreen. Had to go to Florida, you get crispy in like 10 minutes. It's insane. Miss Heard, you taking off. You said goodbye, and much love to you all. Well, much love to you as well, Miss Heard. Have yourself a good night. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon, right? Thanks for being here, supporting the channel, as always. Tony, you said, I guess that's what you said in the keyboard was fighting when you said this looks like a thruster to me. That's what it kind of looks like to me, too. Like it's to keep it in, its trajectory and just a quick, power burst, and that's pretty much it. Let's see. Robert Morgan said, I fixed my error and smashed the hell out of the like button. Oh, it's good. I didn't realize you had an error there. Well, yeah, it happens. Let me see here. There you go, Robert. 1-800-RENT-WENCH for female companionship. Yikes. I think I'd be a little afraid there. Tony, you said, I never thought they stopped going to the moon, just started to get too hard to hide what they're finding. Well, I mean, they don't really have to show the public, right? But the photos are, in fact, real. A lot of people don't believe it, other people. But just because they're actually censoring them tells me that they're real. Now, people could say, well, it was done in a giant building and stuff like that. Then, and they're just trying to hide the whether it's cameras or whatever. It's like, listen, I know they're dumbbells, and I get that to a certain degree, but they're not that stupid. You know what I mean? Again, it's kind of like Mars. People go, how do you know that's not, Earth? Is it a possibility? Yeah, sure, there's a slight possibility. But again, you're going to take it in an area that has no rocks, or maybe just boulders, rocks on the ground, but no trees, no natural mountains or trees on the mountain. You're going to have like basically a desert terrain. You're going to do your best to try to get everything out of it. That would be the best way to go instead of trying to filter the stuff out, censor it. So the fact that they're censoring stuff out of this tells me that they are, in fact, there on the moon, 67P, wherever, because they are taking the stuff out, right? James, you said, Chris, I mean, with what we have seen in all your vids, etc., it would take more than 5 or 6 missions to bring and work all the material that we can see in regards to the mining devices, etc. Yeah, I mean, we see there's like complexes and stuff like that in large cities there. Yeah, there's no way they stopped. There's just no way they stopped. They're still going. They probably still have kept going. Probably built a spy craft that can, who knows if they're not utilizing some of them structures there on the moon. They figured out how to go into them, and they figured out maybe there's a power source that continues to run there, and it's on a power source that we don't know anything about. Kind of like, what is it, Stargate Atlantis, where it has a power source and everything else. Now, don't get me wrong, that power source could be depleted, but you get the idea. I mean, how do we know? And they just have to fly back and forth with anything they need as far as equipment, food, or whatever, and they can do that with ease. Nobody's going to know. All you need is a retrofitted, an old shuttle. You know what I mean? Like, remember the first one that went out, the Enterprise shuttle. So that was the very first space shuttle we had, and then, of course, we had the others, Endeavour and all that. So, to me, they could easily retrofit one of those, and if it's already got a landing pad on one of these structures or whatever, they can literally just land there, no problem, take off there. It's easy to take off. Well, we all know there's nothing for gravity on the moon, so easy to take off, hardly any fuel to use, probably been mining fuel over there, so we can easily just fly back and forth. And if you built it out of if you retrofitted some kind of stealth aircraft, then it's even easier. You can come and go as you please, and nobody's going to know. That's it. Nicholas, you said that's probably what you see a lot of. If we've never stopped going up to the moon, we've learned from the ruins we found. Pretty much, yeah. Curtibanus, you said, I didn't see the scale, 100 meters, in the crater, changing my object's height calculation to 100 meters high, which is still good size, right? Daniel Webster, what's happening? Haven't seen you in a while. He said, hello, fellows. Hello, Chris. I've been busy, but I'm glad I could stop in briefly. Well, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Robert, we can do it without those ladies too. Yeah, we're good. Borderline content. You said, do you think there's a good amount of lithium found on the moon? Truthfully, I don't know. I know there's helium-3, which everybody believes that they're mining. So I couldn't tell you. Now, is it a possibility? Sure. I don't know, truthfully. Here you go, Jack DeVille. What's going on? He said Capricorn 1. Yeah. What's going on, George? Mr. George Mayer is in the house. Hi, Chris. And all totally forgot about tonight. Sorry, all. Oh, you're here, man. That's all that matters. Glad to have you in there. And I strongly believe that, Pat. You said supposedly there's been bases on the moon since the 1940s. Again, see, I mean, they said they had basically a rough time because they had accidents and everything else with the Apollo missions, right? So you say to yourself, well, maybe they didn't go to the moon back in the 40s, right? But how do we know they just didn't make something crude? And because there's already structures there and everything else, once they got there, they were like, okay, we did make it. We're safe now. Because maybe these structures are still powered. Maybe there's atmospherics in there. Who knows, right? Again, pure speculation and getting sci-fi on you guys. But the thing is, how do we know, though? We don't know. Judging by what's on this moon, again, they've never stopped going. And I believe they've probably utilized these bases, and they're probably there as we speak, just going about their business like you and I do it everyday life here on Earth, right? Borderline Content says, I think the moon was part of our payoff we gave the Nazis. Well, the thing is, how do we know? They could have their own little section of the moon. We could have our section. China will probably establish an area on the moon for themselves. But according to the space treaty, there is nobody can own the moon. So, and I would imagine Mars is like that, and the space body out there. So then what are they doing up there on these bodies, right? Whether it be a moon, things like 67P, Mars. So they're there to just say, hey, it's a free-for-all. Think about it. If nobody can own it, but that doesn't mean you can't go to a certain part of it and rape the contents of it. Think about it. Get all the information you can out of there. And maybe that'll make you a superpower, too. We're going there. We're looking at all the stuff that's here. Ooh, wow, we can build this. And now everybody wants to go and get a piece of that. And so they can bring it back for their technology. How do we know? If nobody can own these planets or moons, then that's telling me they're going up there on their own accord, which in a sense, I don't believe that, because I believe they are working together, because in many ways they are building together and operating together. Then I believe that that's it. I mean, they're all working together for just like one, like in unity kind of thing for probably getting this technology and any information they can get as a whole and just bring it back, and they can just all study it together. Like I said, basically the higher elites, right, of these space agencies, not the normal PR part of these space agencies. Daniel Webster said, I will never believe the pictures or fake fudge, absolutely, but never believe that they were fake. I think they're much more advanced than we know. I've heard 100 to 200 years ahead. Oh, I think it's even more than that, depending on how you look at it. If you're talking about our military, some say it's even more than that. It could be like 300-400 years ahead of us. And as far as these structures and what look like desolate spacecraft on their sides and just laying there, things could have been there for thousands of years, and we wouldn't know. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, the pictures to me have always been real, but like I said, they've been fudged out. You know what I mean? You would not fudge a photo if it's the true deal. So, and going by what we've seen in these photos, that's what tells me it's not Earth. Now, we have seen things that look very similar. Like I showed you what looked like those. Remember I showed you in the last one where it was the Opportunity rover, and it looked like there's cars or whatever they were on the land on the side of that. Basically, the side of that crater. It looked like they were just kind of coming down the crater wall. Now, they have an uncanny look like vehicles we have here on Earth. Now, is it possible they were? Sure. And like I said, when I first brought this up, I think it was like, I forget what it was, 2012 or 2013. I got laughed at, and I don't care. Because I'm just saying this is what they look like. I'm not saying absolutes here. You can't speak in absolutes because we don't know. Now, you can say, wow, you can feel strongly about it. Say, these are structures. I believe they are. And you're saying I believe they are. That's my opinion. But they had an uncanny looking things just like we have here on Earth. Now, that does not surprise me. That doesn't mean, though, because here's the thing. They would need transportation like we have here. And as far advanced as we are, we still have the wheel. Now, that doesn't mean that they're, whatever they get around with, even if they look a lot like ours, that doesn't mean they're powered the same way. Doesn't mean they have a combustion engine in them. They could be nuclear powered. They could be electric, fully electric back then. Who knows? We just assume, and we shouldn't do that. Pat Owen says Earth human bases could very well be, and I believe that's true. Pete Ferrero, he said the astronauts found things that point to Mars, so the effort was started to get to Mars as soon as possible. Yeah, they've seen this years ago, right? By the Viking lander as well as the flyby orbiter, and they're just supposed to just fly by and take photos, right? And then, of course, they landed there and they found microbial life back then. Of course, we're still looking for it to this day. Now we're taking seismographs up there, and there's Mars quakes and all this other stuff, and I think they're just trying to really understand the mechanics of Mars. But again, we've heard noises from the seismograph, and it literally sounds like something's coming and going. And here, and clanging and gets louder and louder and louder, and then it keeps going, like it disappears. It's almost like something going by underground, and then it gets to the height of right underneath that seismograph, and then keeps going, and then it fades off. Now, they say it's a hurricane. Either a windstorm or, they pretty much say it's a windstorm, right? Or some kind of quake. It has too much of a metallic sound to be like that. So I don't believe that for a moment. Tony Gibbs, you said all of the mining and buildings were there in the Apollo 10 pics before we ever landed. Yeah, well, I showed you that, where it looked like they had the structures on the ground, which Alien Hunter had on there, where it showed that area, and this is supposed to be on the backside of the moon. And I had already done that another photo, where it showed a side view of the structure. So combined, that was let's see if I can even find this thing. That was the other. This is the one right here, where we had, right here, you got a top view, which he showed, and then, of course, it was all whited out. So I brought it out, and you can see the side view. It looks the same way. You're looking at it from this point of view on the lower left of this orange shape right here, going right next to this yellow box, right here on the lower left, and looking straight at this angle towards this larger one in the back. And you can see the same things are there. That's the crazy part. And nowhere did I think that these were going to match, but there you go. Overhead view, side view. They're there. It's this one right here is this one. And you can see the side piece right on the side of this larger one. Let's do this. This right here on the left-hand side of this yellow circle right here, the smaller one is right there, and it looks like some octagon-shaped structure. And you got this so-called crater, which it is not. It has an opening right here. Well, that's right there. Got this long piece that looks kind of almost faded out right here on this left-hand side, but yet it's right there. Overhead view right there. You got the middle one right there. Look at the shape inside this middle one. Well, it's right there. On the satellite view looking above it. Got this one way in the back. It's right there. And we got the smaller one right there to the lower left of this one. Big. You can see the top right. You can see the one a little bit smaller down, down and into the left a little bit right there. Well, it's right there on this left-hand side right there. A smaller one and then much larger structure, and it's right there. It's like almost like a long structure, and you can see what this looks like here. I mean, it's literally two different aspects of looking at this thing on two different perspectives, and you can see that clearly is pretty much the same photo. And Tony Gibbs, sorry, special on what NASA has found on Mars. Please, what nonsense. Water and perhaps microbes too. Give me a break. Yeah, I mean, they already known this for a long time. They know this for a fact. I mean, come on. They make it sound like people are just that stupid, right? Can't figure it out. Bobby Pentland, good to see you in there, man. You said, defund the feds. Our government has too much money, and all they do is keep everything secret. Defund the feds. Privatize all government programs. Yeah, pretty much. And James Cragen, thanks again, brother. Appreciate your support. He says, structures everywhere in that vid, without a doubt. Well, like I said, it was just weird because I had done the one on the left, and I showed that. And then I had done one a while back, a video about this area here on the top view I had done, but it was in a different way. It was kind of angled in a certain way, but it was still above this area. This is more, the one on the yellow box is more of a lower elevation, or just above the lunar surface. And after it, I said, wow, I can't believe how much that is identical. There you go. And these are two different ones. I had done this one a while back, and then Alien Hunter came out with the one he did, the video, and I was like, wow, I took a screenshot, just darkened it up, enhanced it. Anything that was white, I brought out lighter, and there's so much that is identical in this photo, it's not even funny. It's just like, wow. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here that is absolutely identical, and there it is. George Mary said, I still think we were advised millions of years ago and went to the moon and planets, and we were wiped out by a major event. That's a good possibility. I said that before, that we may be much older than we actually think, and that thousands of years ago we could have had, like I said, we were like supposedly in the fifth cycle of life on here on Earth, and there might have been thousands of years in between these cycles, because once the human race is almost killed off, then we will get... like I said, you pretty much almost die off, and then you have to rebuild life on this planet. So how do we know each time we came back, we weren't more and more advanced? And then we got killed off again. Now we're getting more and more advanced again. Now, is that going to happen again? Who knows? But, you know, we could have been, if that's true, we were in the fifth cycle. In the first cycle, we were a lot more advanced than we thought. We could have been spacefaring a long time ago, folks. We could have been. We don't know. These could have been ours at one point. And then we just stopped going because everybody pretty much died here. Or who knows, maybe there's a meteor shower that hit Earth, pretty much killed off the planet. Maybe a couple of them hit the moon and almost killed off everything on the moon. I don't know. Speculative. But, you know, the point is, how do we really know? There's a lot being hidden about our past, so why not that too? Daniel Webster said, I believe they're using structures, building their own structures. I mean, whatever, what happens if an asteroid comes, they would leave us to our own devices and simply blast off. Yeah, because the elites would. They'd be like, nice knowing you, suckers, we're out. And even if you couldn't get away quick enough, you'd still be able to go maybe to the ISS. Now, of course, you're going to be a world of hurt anyway on the ISS, because at some point, you're only going to have so much to eat. Then you're pretty much done. So... Scientific research for extraterrestrials. Said, Chris, how much would it cost a manned mission to the moon? That is a great question, man. I truthfully don't know. I really don't. Can't imagine it's cheap. And Matthew, that's a great question, man. You said, why do they build such formidable walls around these central structures? For protection? If so, from what? Other alien species? It could very well be. It could be for, who knows, maybe other small rocks coming in, from space, and it helps to protect them around them. And we don't even know if some of these things don't go deep into the moon either, right? So in other words, you're seeing parts of the structure and very large structures on the actual lunar surface, but we don't know if they go into the ground too, right? So, I mean, they could be living above the lunar surface, but then there's a pending emergency or something going to come into that area. They can just simply go underground, and if everything on top of the ground gets wiped out, then they're pretty much good, right? Bush Corey, glad you see you're in there, man. You said good night and all have a great weekend. Great stream, Chris. Thank you very much, Bush Corey. Thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate you. Let's see. Oops. Long Island, New York. What's going on? Good to see you in there. You said 67P has a city on it. It looks that way. And like I said, we're not gonna stop at those. We got some other photos to do too, or some more videos, right? Tony Gibbs, Soylent Green is people. Yeah, that's pretty much what it come down to too. You know, you're like, when you start running out of food, especially if you're stuck in a space station, everybody's starting to look at everybody else. Okay, their food next. It's like, I'd rather just bail out in space and take my risk. Mike Hoover, what's going on? Good to see you there. You would think the beings there would be personally blowing the whistle here, like an actual person that ran equipment. I don't know. That's a good point. Hard to tell. Bobby Pentland, he said, I live in Silicon Valley. They took my job, my savings, my life, and now I'm supposed to live on a few bucks I get from SS. Yeah, exactly. I'm not moving. There you go. Stand strong. Daniel Webster, he said, Mars has always been fascinating, even in the 1870s and probably way before, that there was a discussion about whether Mars was inhabited by most people back then believed it was. Well, yeah, I mean, of course, they call it the planet of war or war planet, depending on how you look at it. Because they always seen red, so they automatically assumed that, that was it. But was there any fact, or did they actually know something way back in the day? Because clearly it looks like there was a war on that planet and stuff was blown to smithereens. So is that a possibility? Sure. I mean, I think so. And like you said, it's been a topic for many people for many years about Mars. And again, they know for a fact it's basically still, well, not all the way, but it's still pretty much a little bit in the Goldilocks zone. And it could be very habitable if we wanted it to be. But at one point it was. It was just like Earth. So, again, I speculate that we could have had life on both planets at one time thousands of years ago, and somehow Mars took a hit. Or it wasn't that long ago. I don't know. There's no way of really knowing. There you go, Bobby. You said that the Pinnacles, California caves. I'll be there when the end comes. Look me up. I hear you. Robert Morgan, you said the ISS can always return to Earth, at least the crew, possibly the Moon or Mars once they're available. Well, true, yeah. If you make a civilization on, whether it be the Moon, Mars, yeah, I mean, if Earth takes a hit, of course, they'll have to wait a while because, let's say it goes into like a nuclear winter type thing. In other words, if it's a real bad catastrophic event, they'd have to wait until the dust settles, nature returns back to normal, so on and so forth. Yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Long Island, New York. He said, Chris, you need to get Luis Elizondo on. That would be interesting. I'm still on the fence. What do you guys think about him? What do you think percentage-wise? Do you think he's on the up and up? 80%, 50%? About everything now. I'm saying in general. What are you saying? Not just any particular thing. What do you guys think? Z Humble Pie, what's going on? He said, hit that like button, everyone. Glad to see you in there, man. Anthony Rothery, what's going on? Good to see you in there. I think you're having problems with the keyboard, or either that, it's got, what do you call it on there? Spell check, and it's always wonderful. Nice to see what you said right here. Sorry, keyboard error. Why do I get the feeling of deja vu? Oh, I know. Weird how that works, isn't it? Daniel Webster said a lot of these moon photos, a magnifying glass or a loop is a great tool. It brings out things and shows that structures are hidden in plain sight. They pretty much are. And a lot of times, if you try to zoom into these, they break apart. This is the reason why I suggested years ago to the viewers to start using a magnifying glass, because I found it actually works for me. It works very well, too, in fact. Sean, I see you're back from your walk day. You said, back from my walk, able to watch the videos visual. I'm surprised we never put a space station in orbit the moon, or to orbit the moon. Well, China wants to do that. And by the way, thank you again for your support. I do appreciate you. But they want to do that. China wants to do that. And they also want to land on there. And they said something about I said it earlier, about like a cell tower there, so they can have communications pretty much a lot easier than trying to go from the surface of the moon and trying to hit a certain orbiter or whatever, where they'll probably link a couple of these cell towers, and of course they'll probably be a lot more powerful than anything they have on the ground. So it'll basically be a relay station, right? And they can just have a dish either shooting up to the orbiter, and which they were doing anyway, as a relay station, right? China's doing that right now. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. I don't know. But they're doing it now. As far as orbiter-wise, I don't see that as a problem. I think we're going to see more and more of that, right? As far as orbiters or a space station. Because if China doesn't do it, somebody else will. But I believe we've been on the moon for quite a few years. And I believe we'll probably have operations up there. It's probably fully functional in some of these cities that probably exist on the surface to begin with before we even got there. So I think that may be the case. James Cragen, you said, Chris, can you ever trust a CIA agent, ex-agent, or not? It depends. If he's tight-lipped and he gets drunk, well, maybe he'll spill out a few things. If not, probably not. It's kind of like trying to get some of the truth out of these Apollo 11 astronauts, right? They're tight-lipped. And I promise you they've seen things over there that were just absolutely insane on the moon, and yet they still haven't divulged it. Yet some of them were talking about, as they got older and, getting up there in age, and, they were talking about how, yeah, we believe that UFOs are real, and some of them were kind of letting out some of the cat out of the bag a little bit, but weren't really going too crazy with divulging the information, though, right? So, yeah. Like I said, I don't think we ever stopped. Scientific search for extraterrestrials. Ha. I see. No McDonald's on the moon. Well, that's not entirely true. I got a iced tea or tea there from McDonald's, so I had an Uber driver bring it. They got fantastic cars now. They can go back and forth to the moon. These images on the moon are ghoulish. Do you have to wonder why they're doing that? Hold on, this thing just jumped on me here. And Photoshop the moon doesn't belong to us just because it orbits our planet means nothing as far as ownership. I agree, William Hayes. Well, like I said, we have a space treaty where it says nobody can own the moon. So then it makes you wonder, other than these elites that are all working together, like most space agencies are actually getting together and they're working together to, bring back the information or stuff they're finding on the moon or Mars, 67P, and other bodies that are in the solar system. They're all working together trying to get this information because we're much stronger and can collect a lot more information, and there's a lot more of us working on it, right? So I believe that's the case, and that's what's going on. Now, as far as, like I said, the lower parts or the normal parts of these space agencies, they believe they're doing the right job, and they are for the PR, meaning the public relations. So, but yeah, there's so much going on. I mean, it's just absolutely absurd that they think everybody's an idiot and can't figure this stuff out. Sean, thank you very much again for your support, man. Appreciate you. You said Chris makes a great suggestion. Get us some magnifiers with Mars Anomalies and Beyond's logo. There you go. We can do that. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Exactly, Pat. Deathbed confessions. Yep. Dan Webster says some Indians count for sons or ages. For sons, rather. Ages. Some Indians count 5, but all were in agreement that there was this is the final one. Yeah. Mike Hoovey said the fear porn is absolutely BS. Not healthy, not helping. Well, that's the thing. I mean, as far as like, I mean, I'm not, I don't know if you're talking about me because I don't, I believe, to me, if you're saying that, if we were to say that we are ourselves on the moon and they may be utilizing structures that are there, because we have seen plenty of structures on this moon. These astronauts are literally looking at structures and all of these other craft. I've done videos where it looks like this craft that have been there for 1,000 years, kind of on their side and stuff like that. So that tells me there was something else or someone else living on the moon. So if we are on there and we've pretty much taken over these things, then that's actually a pretty cool idea. But just tell the public, man. Why hide this stuff, right? Thanks, James. I appreciate you. He said, not forgetting the astronaut's homecoming interview. Well, that's what I was saying when they were on the press conference. Remember that? Where they were just all like, again, they didn't look like they wanted to be there. They were just like, oh, this is, they were just looking at each other like, I mean, they were answering questions, don't get me wrong, but they were totally like not even into it. They were just like, again, when one of them asked them, what'd you think about the stars up there? They were like, stars? I don't know. Did you guys see? I didn't see any stars. They didn't care. That's not what they were up there to see, right? So they were like stars to stars, big freaking deal. They were there to see something much more important than looking out from the lunar surface, looking at stars, right? Daniel Webster said, some people, many of them, with a high IQ, our history book is 90% incomplete. Absolutely. At least, I mean, it's like when we were growing up in school, right? You heard of certain things, whether about the moon, our planets, whatever else, and that was probably, well, what the mainstream science would tell you, meaning what they thought about Mars, the moon, and everything else. And, of course, you listened and thought, that's neat. Until you get older and started looking at these photos maybe yourself before any of these videos ever came out and said, okay, clearly this doesn't make sense. Not what I was taught in school. Now I'm seeing something totally different. This doesn't make any sense at all. And you'd be right. Because now more and more of this is coming out and people are seeing this, right? So... Yeah, Pete, I totally agree with you. He said it's very suspicious that China was able to move their space program so far ahead in such a short time. I agree. And now they're like, full force, full speed ahead kind of thing, right? Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying now, Mike. You said, no, Lou is pushing the threat narrative. Well, again, he was just saying, and I started talking about this at the top of the chat here, where he was saying, oh, there's a 23-minute video that would like really baffle or scare people or something along them lines. I'm like, show the video. I don't think it would scare anybody. But he makes it sound like, yeah, like you're saying, it's like, ooh, ah. Then if they released the other videos, or he did, well, it wasn't him that did, it was the other guy. But regardless, if you know these videos are there, spill it. You know what I mean? Unless it's like an Independence Day video where it's blowing up buildings and killing each other in the skies, I don't think anybody's going to be freaked out. I don't think anybody's going to be. The G's View says China wants to build military base, not science. Military trumps science every time. That's true. The DOD's got the last say, right? Yeah, I think they are in opposition, right, Mike? You said that's why Dr. Greer is so pissed at him. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, because it's like it's conflicting, right? And so people are going, he's saying one thing, he's saying another. What's the deal here, right? And it's just, and if anything, if they believe, if they don't believe in Greer's and they believe Elizondo's, then it's like it's kind of like counterproductive on Greer's part, right? Where he's trying to go forward. And, well, I think he embellishes a lot too, but that's not the point. The thing is, I think there's a lot of truth to what he's saying. And like I said, if you're going to come out with a statement saying, oh, the military's got a 23-minute video showing this, that, and the other, and it's kind of like it would really scare people or something along them lines, just show the video. Why even do that? It's like, ooh, tease, tease, tease. I don't get it. Show the darn thing. Let's see it. And I want to see if it's actually daytime or another light spectrum, whether night vision, infrared, whatever it may be. But I want to see it in daytime. I don't want to see this crap anymore, this blurry junk. I want to see the real deal. Yeah, I believe there's a certain truth to that scientific search for extraterrestrials. You said, I think U.S. government doesn't want to tell the masses about UFOs because the masses are crazy, and the masses could create a situation of chaos, and they know the truth about extraterrestrials. Well, it's like I said, if you go back to the Brookings report, they basically say that. How would people react to the fact that there was actually UFOs out there and they were not of this planet? And of course, it goes into whatever the Brookings report pretty much says, and it goes into that. But again, this went back to the 1960s. I think it was come out in 1960, I believe. And this was, of course, made by, guess who? NASA. So my whole thing is, they were probably thinking back in the day people would have been scared out of their shorts, which that might have been the truth. Now, not so much. People are getting so desensitized to this stuff now, and maybe that's the whole plan to this, is to say, ooh, UFOs, and we'll see more and more of them, and then we'll get desensitized. If we ever see one in the sky, we won't be totally freaked out. I don't know. But I think a lot of it, some of it's absolute junk and crap, and some of it's not, right? Tony Gibbs, you said, plus all of the 11, I guess you're saying the Apollo 11 crew got into weird stuff after they returned. Neil Armstrong went researching caves in South America, mine underground stories. Yeah, and he became basically a recluse, right? I mean, he just basically hermit crabbed himself, where he just kind of turned into a hermit and didn't really want too much to do with people. And a lot of these astronauts pretty much went into hiding, if you think about it. Yeah, they were still out there, some of them, but they kind of disappeared for a while. And they probably had to go to get psychiatric help. They were probably in a room with, just one person talking about, get this out. All right, this is what it is, blah, 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 and made them feel better. I remember seeing Neil Armstrong when he was fine back in the day when he was younger. Now he's like, if you ever seen him with Trump, remember he's saying, yeah, we're going to go back to the moon, we're going to do this, we're going to have Space Force and everything else. He's looking at him, he's making all kinds of weird facial expressions and weird stuff, like when he said we're going to go back, he kind of looked at him weird, like he's probably thinking, what do you mean go back? We're already there. We've been there. So yeah, just look at the facial expressions he makes. Now, I don't know if that's some kind of the medication that he's on, whatever it may be, but I can promise you these guys have never been right since. Bobby Pentley said, why didn't China spend more time on the moon? Because they were there a long time ago. Well, again, we can speculate to that because we really truly don't know. But you can bet from the first time they had space flight, and I can promise you, because we had rockets since the late 40s, going to other planets and our moon. Trying, of course, a lot of them failed, of course. Went to Venus, went to Mars, and a lot of them failed, didn't even get off the launch pad here on Earth. But we were able to get to certain places. If you go into another planet, that takes calculation. That takes all kinds of stuff. So they had the calculations. They had the technology. They had the know-how, even though a lot of it failed. Not because they didn't know how to do it, but maybe the rockets failed, the electronics failed, whatever it was, because it was really crude back then. So you're going to have failures in order to progress forward, right? So I believe that's the case. And, like I said, they've been going back for years. So I believe that they were probably there long before the Apollo missions. And like I said, if these structures were already there and they could figure a way into them and they were still intact, why not just use the things that are there? Why go there and build when they're already there, especially if they're structurally sound, right? There you go, H-Stars 1AV. Astronaut Klaatu and Policeman Gort. Yeah, that's pretty good. Nicholas Papa says, Chris, I'm going to get a TARDIS and fix it all. There you go. That's the way to look at it. Pat, you said CCP equals evil. Well, I mean, I think we should be more careful because so many countries are going to Mars and everything else. And of course the Chinese people would be talking about their own government, and of course the European would be talking about ESA. They better be careful because at some point there's going to be an argument or a war out, an all-out war about who's going to take over a certain part of the moon or Mars, wherever these structures are, and they're going to be like, oh, this is my territory. No, this is my territory. And eventually, that may be the way this information is going to come out. We're going to find out about it. Or somebody would be just sitting there looking at the moon and see like a huge explosions. And I mean explosion where you can almost see it with the naked eye here on Earth, that, something's going on up there. Who knows, right? This thing just jumped on me here. Tony Gibbs, you said a huge portion of our history was burned on purpose. The Library of Alexandria simply because it didn't fit. Pretty much. If it went against their mindset, then all of a sudden, oh, it's fake, it's garbage. And that was the end of it, right? Well, you must. I think you meant Apollo 11, not 12, because you said the moon landing crew of Apollo 12 should have been more exuberantly excited about their achievement, but they seemed subdued, confused about what they had experienced. Yeah, that would have been unless you are talking about 12, but I mean 11 because they were the first ones there. That they were totally out of it. I mean, they didn't know what the hell to say. And it seemed like the other Apollo missions didn't seem like they were that shocked, and they didn't seem to come back that bad. It's almost like they had the Apollo 11 crew, talk about what they found. They had pictures, crystal clear pictures. So this way here, they were more desensitized when they went. So when they went up there to see this stuff, they were probably like, okay, we've seen a close-up and really good photos of these, so we know what to expect. Where these guys were probably seeing really good photos from the satellite, but they were the first ones to step foot on the moon, and that's probably why they were freaked out. But the other missions after that were probably not as shocked because they got a lot better photos because of the Apollo 11 mission astronauts, right? Yeah, Mike, you're right about that. Whatever country spills the beans first are gonna be colossal heroes. I would respect China a lot if they did. Anybody, you know what I mean? Just spill it. Be done with it. Yeah. Lapish, you said China and Russia plan together a moon base. Yep, that's what they're doing. I don't know if I'd want to have both of them building a base and then again become a superpower between the two of them. And not good. Bobby Pentley said China sent monkeys into space. That's why there's so many monkey carvings on Mars. Monkey carvings on Mars. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the moon mission there where they had taken mice with them to see if they could actually survive, the flight and everything else, and so on and so forth. And I think who was the first one to actually send a small chimp out there? Was it the Soviet Union? Who was the one that first sent one out there? And I think one of them actually took a whole flight around by itself, and then came back down to Earth. And I think it survived and everything. I think it was fine. But I'm sure there were some other ones that you probably didn't hear about that did not make it, right? Yeah, Nicholas Poppy said it'll be, well, where did it go? It'll be like the 1970s series Moon 1999. Yep, Space 1999. Exactly, Tony. Yep. He said when Apollo 11 astronauts were interviewed, they wouldn't or couldn't even make contact with the interviewer. See the way they kept putting their heads down and looking at each other and then kind of like, looking up at the ceiling and everything. It was just weird, man. It was just like, you even felt awkward just watching it. It was just weird. You're like, what is going on with these guys? These guys should be like all over this, right? Yeah. What's going on there, Brian Norton? He said, I'm here. What's up, Mars family? Not a whole lot, brother. I hope you're doing well. Mike, I got to agree with you on that. Seriously, Chris, I respect Putin 100%. Yeah, 100% compared to the Biden's puppet. Yeah. He's lost so much credibility since even the word go. Yeah. And Putin knows it, too. He's like, oh, my God. He's looking at him like a bloodthirsty bloodhound. Like he just wants to get in a conversation with him and tear him to pieces. And I don't blame him. He's looking at these guys saying, oh, look, these American president's so weak. Yes? Oh, yeah, absolutely. He knows it, too. Weak and frail. Pat, you said Elon wants to sell Teslas on Mars. No, but he is going to actually, I think he's supposed to get together with NASA or someone that they're going to actually they're going to make a moon vehicle up there. And it's going to be, I think, maybe based off some of his technology he's got. And, of course, he's still moving forward with the technology he's got, too, right? Danny East, what's going on? He said, what up, what up? What's going on, man? Good to see you in there. Yeah, I heard about that a while back, Tony. You said they didn't talk much, or they don't talk much about the microbes that are growing on the outside of the ISS. Yeah, it's still within the atmosphere, right? So you're still going to get that. And from what I heard, the moon is actually still within our atmospheric as far as Earth as well. It reaches pretty far out. This is the reason why I think there's probably moisture on the moon. We can have other things on the moon that may be related to Earth somehow. I don't know, but it's still supposedly it's still within the atmosphere, outer atmosphere of Earth, which is really mind-boggling in a sense, right? Nicholas, you said, what did Russia do first? Stephen Wagner, he said, was just thinking Tesla cars on Mars. Recharged by the sun. Cool. I don't think they would. I think they'd be nuclear powered, just like our rovers we have today are nuclear powered. Of course, the other ones prior to that were solar. Just like our InSight lander, or ESA's InSight lander, is also solar. But as far as Curiosity and Perseverance, they're both nuclear powered, and I think that's how they'll roll with those. If they're going to build anything on the moon or roving on Mars itself, right? But they may very well be solar powered, or, if they are solar powered, they'll have a good sized solar array, and during the day they can charge it up to probably multiple vehicles. Charge them up, charge one up, then use one. Okay, it's pretty much dead after that for that day. The next one they go out, and the other one's recharging for the day. They just switch them out, right? That would probably be the best way to do it. Coke and Kali, what's going on? He said, no, Egypt is where the library was and where Romans and Greeks sent their children to school. That's written fact. Yes, I heard that as well. Egyptians were pretty smart, man. Simple as that. In fact, I believe if you look at both of those in Greece as well as, well, if you look at other countries, there's a lot of Egyptian stuff, right? So it would not surprise me. And like you said, a lot of them came to Egypt to learn and stuff like that. Oh, okay, Robert. Okay, I got you. Okay, I thought you meant Space 1999, but the British original UFO. Okay, I got you. Bad, yeah. You said 0 point energy powered. That could very well be. There might be now, Nicholas. You said, is there any ghettos on Mars? There could be now. All run down, looking bad. Oh. Yeah, Kurt Abanis, you said Tesla cars will be transmedia in 30 years. At that point, humans will not need a spaceship or a big spaceship to go to Mars, but just a small ship, the future's car. Yeah, I think they'll be like little pods, right? And especially if they're out of a certain energy as opposed to like, maybe they're like a anti-gravitics as opposed to like regular propulsion, right? So you literally just get into a pod and just go, all right, how long is it before we get to Mars? About 3 hours. Okay. It just goes and you're sitting there reading a book and doing whatever and get there, come and go. I can see that in the future. Of course, it'll be not like 20 years from now, but much, much further than that. Lunatic, you said, Chris and all, peace, heavens, great live, thank you, and good night from Bosnia Serb Republic. All right, there, Lunatic, good to see you in there. Thanks for your support. Thanks for being here and joining us. We're going to be taking off ourselves, so we got to get a couple things done ourselves before we go to bed. So we're going to jump on off this thing as well. And as always, it's always good to have everybody in there and talking it up, having a great time. There's nothing better than that. And everybody just, like I said, just talking amongst themselves, talking about different topics, and just sharing a lot of cool things on a Friday. I actually laid down before coming to getting on this, and I was just like, basically couldn't even go to a deep sleep because I was like, oh, I can't wait. I was just like, get on this live feed and talk it up with these fine folks and have a great time. Because we always do, right? Have a bunch of laughs, and just have a great time, period, right? So I just, that's what I enjoy most. But, so, yeah, we are going to jump off this thing, folks. We are definitely going to jump on off this. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being here. Thank you for making the channel for what it is. Thank you for supporting it any way you know how, whether it's just verbally, monetarily, doesn't matter. Support is support as far as I'm concerned. And this is what makes the channel great, is you yourselves, and just a fine bunch of people, and just awesome thinking people. Because here's the thing. I said this before. I don't want robots and say, I agree with everything Chris says. I may have good ideas, but you guys also do. So I don't want to be just like, people going, yep, he's right, absolutely. No, I like people who are critically thinking. You will disagree, you will agree. Fine is either way with me. I don't care. Now, I have gotten comments before where they're just downright belligerent. You know what I mean? Just talking trash and everything. I go, hey, I'm good. And one guy said to me, oh, is that what you do? You just get rid of, people who oppose you? No, I get rid of people that are like totally belligerent and just talking down to you like you're some simpleton. No, we're not gonna play that route. If they said to me, I totally disagree with you, I believe it is this instead. I don't have a problem with that. And then I'll discuss it back and forth with them and then see how it plays out. A lot of times you can almost come to, maybe I don't see eye to eye with somebody, but then once you talk a couple times, then next thing you know, you see eye to eye. And then you go, oh, okay, well, yeah, I didn't think of that. I've said that myself sometimes. So, what we see in these photos, again, we can't pinpoint exactly what these things are, right? We can only speculate as to what they are. And like I said, we've gotten together where we've seen some things and go, I'm not sure what it is. I've seen this on my comment sections where people go, I'm not sure what that is, Chris, but clearly that doesn't look natural. Again, we don't know what these things are. We can merely guess from the size. Maybe you go, it looks more structural, or it's a very large craft, or very large machines. We don't know. We have no clue. So, yeah, that's what makes it interesting, that we can all get together and converse about that kind of stuff and other topics as well. That's what makes it interesting. So that's what I love about all you fine folks out here, and I just love the idea that we can do that. Let me see. Bobby Pentland, thank you very much, sir, for your support. It is appreciated. You said, love the show, Chris. Oh, you guys are great. Thanks. Well, like I said, when you say, oh, you guys, it includes yourself. Because I said this before, and I'll say it again. The channel is nothing without my subscribers, period. That's it. I bring the content, sure. Everybody gets to watch it and then throw their comments and their views and what they see and what they don't. And I always ask you guys to do that. I always say, you guys get the last say, drop your thoughts. And that's what it is. That's what it's all about. I bring it to you, and like I said, 90% of it's speculation because we don't know. We can't. Like I said, we can't vet any of it. But we do our best. And the thing is, but again, I bring the content. I made the channel, but you guys are what make up the channel. Without views, you don't have a channel, right? So thank yourself as well, Bobby. I do appreciate you, and all you other fine folks out there, for just any kind of support. It's just awesome. You guys are awesome, and I can't say it enough. Much love to everybody out there, and I'm glad we can spend some time this evening. So with that, I'm going to let everybody go. What time is it? I got 8:08 Eastern time right now, so we'll keep it on there for about until 15 past, so you guys can talk it up a little bit before we cut the feed. So everybody, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you from the heart. Much love to everybody out there. Have yourself a great evening, great weekend, and we'll talk soon. Like I said, we'll have some more videos coming out, and we're going to have more Mars, Moon, as well as some more 67p, so stay tuned. Anyway, guys, have yourself a good one. We'll talk to you soon.